morning. Happy Monday, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood in Mesa, Arizona, where we expect a high of 100 degrees today. So, heating up here, wherever you are. I hope things are better. Morning, Jennifer.
Morning.
Excuse me?
It is morning. That is correct.
Jeez. How about the energy Jen's bringing today?
Tired.
Why are you tired? Why are you tired, Jen?
I went out last night later, so.
How late were we out last night?
Not super late, like 8:30 or 9, but it was late enough.
Church, I assume? Evening mass?
Yeah, exactly. I do lots of church, and we all know that. I probably would if I walked through a church again, I might get I might burn or something. There's probably some kind of.
You'll just light it on fire. I was wrong. I was wrong. Somebody said 109 in Mesa today. I'm seeing 106 though. Holy shit. Well, that sucks. We have summer. It is. I'm looking at a 10-day forecast here. What are things like in California? Your neck of the woods.
It's supposed to be warm today. It's supposed to be.
Okay, we're dropping back down to the 90s though next week. Okay, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, 106 today. Whew.
It fluctuates around here. They call it like fake spring or something like that, alternate spring, where it's like it'll warm up and then it'll rain. So.
Well, yeah, I could go for some of that. How was your Mother's Day? You went out on a date on Mother's Day? So
yeah.
Did you make him call you mommy?
No.
Did he call you mommy?
No.
He didn't choose to.
I don't think I would enjoy that. I don't think he would enjoy that. So, but
that is so shock. Never mind. It is. We've already discussed this. Don't make it weird. After I say what I'm going to say here, just don't say anything. Can we agree on that so we don't have to make it weird?
No, we can't.
It's just shocking, like giving your demeanor that in your personal relationships you have a different personality or a different demeanor. Can we just say that?
You mean me being nice? Is that what you mean?
Not being nice, just dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange. Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not my personality is very much my personality still, but I am nice on occasion. So there's that. So.
Yeah. Did you watch the Kevin Hart roast by chance or see any of it?
I did not. Was it good? Bad?
Like everything Kevin Hart does, it was incredibly overproduced and overscripted, and the scripted parts were dog shit. The rest of it, there was some funny stuff. I enjoyed it. It was Chelsea Handler was good. Shane Gillis hosted, and he bombed basically the entire time, which was funny. Like he was aware that he was bombing, and I liked that. I love when a comedian bombs and owns it and just keeps going. So it was pretty good. Yeah. It's weird to see Pete. Wait, I want to say Buttigieg. Pete Davidson is really sweet now. He did a roast, and then at the end of the roast, he felt bad about it and said sorry. But yeah.
Well, I think he had a daughter or at least a baby. I know he had a baby. Maybe soften him
That's
up,
what happened. Yeah.
That could be.
A lot of people were very mean to Tony Hinchcliffe, which is fair. And then Tony kind of did okay on his set. So it was, I don't know. I'll say this. I think that if you watch a roast from a political perspective, you should probably not watch a roast. If you watch a roast and get offended at any point, I think maybe the roasts aren't for you. They are supposed to be the worst type of comedy. They are supposed to be the most vile, I don't know if vile's the right word, but cutthroat type of comedy. You go at everybody's weak points and you hit those weak points hard. So I was watching. Somebody got mad at me this the other day saying I don't know what to say, but I went down. I was with my girlfriend yesterday, and it was Mother's Day. She didn't have her kids. We were so we watched it, and she's so sweet, and so it was really hard. At times, she had to just turn away from the TV and not watch it, not pay attention because she's sweet. But I loved it.
So. I like roast. I think they're hilarious. But I think what was it, the Tom Brady roast or something like that? They had Kim Kim Kardashian was there, and people were pretty messed. I mean, I think if you go to those and you're a comedian, I think it's like to be expected. But I think sometimes other celebrities will join them, and it's, I mean, they just get ate up. So
I also didn't know like half the people. I had no idea who most of the people on the dais were. So
got it.
yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So I did have the date on Friday.
Okay.
He wasn't. There was some height fishing.
That's right. That's right. Tell us about the height fishing experience.
So
your boy showed up in heels. I understand.
No, he just. I mean, I was wearing like some heeled boots. Nothing. I mean, I'm 5'3". I'm not very tall.
Right.
And I felt, and we were kind of. I mean, he was a little taller than me, but we were closer eye contact.
Which
then
no shot.
That, I mean, there's that. And he had small hands. It's just odd.
Did you hold hands? Is that how, or did you just see them?
We just saw them. They were just small. So it was.
What if they're very useful hands?
I'm not going to find out.
Not gonna find. That's it. One and done.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's why
we went to the speakeasy.
Yes, went to the speakeasy.
Didn't even put any of your phalanges in his mouth.
Nope.
Devastating.
No,
it's devastating stuff.
But then I saw the other. I think he was voted most favorable in the Discord.
When you were running auditions during our members only event, which is a reminder, this Wednesday night, members only event, we're going to watch, I think, 3 episodes of the company retreat. So make sure you're a paid member on YouTube or Twitch to join us for that. And Jen occasionally soft launches her roster. So that's fun.
Yeah. So that one of them is off the roster. So there's that.
Okay. Do we replace that? Do we replace it?
No, I mean,
okay.
I liked this one, I think. So if it's, this one may actually go to a second date. We'll see.
Well, you posted pictures of your date in Discord?
No. I posted a picture of like in the speakeasy.
Just saying in general chat?
Yeah.
When was this?
It was on Friday.
My goodness.
Let's see. Search.
I don't know how to search in Discord. Does the
girl?
I know you don't. I know you don't. Yes, I feel like a lot of people are surprised that I said the word girlfriend earlier this morning. I kind of thought we had covered that at some point.
Too, but not everyone's here at the same time.
There we go. Yes, she does know about the sister wives. I don't know that we've talked about brother husbands. That was talked about very early on. There's some parts of my life that are difficult if you're going to date me, so she had to be kind of aware of that.
So I posted the picture in our chat.
Okay.
That I shared. So
is that old boy at the bar?
No, that's not him.
And you're drinking. What are you drinking here?
That was a pomegranate martini. No, if you're showing the chat, they can't see it.
Oh, I don't have it up, but let me.
Okay, I didn't know if you were playing it.
We'll pop that up there. And what is this drink? Is this glass broken? What's going on with this glass over here with the lime in it?
Broken.
Does it look broken to anybody else?
No. I mean, I don't think so. But I don't know.
Was it not like the brim wasn't like circular the entire way around?
I don't remember it being broken.
Hell yeah, you don't. Hell yeah, you don't.
Not even like that. No, this was Senor Small Hands. So.
Salt. Sorry, salt. I might have said sugar. It's salt. So, what did you drink? It was a martini, and then what had the salt?
It was a pomegranate martini.
Did martinis have salt on the rim?
Pomegranate, the sweeter ones do, but the martini glass, there wasn't any sugar or salt on that one.
No, it's the glass next to it. Can you?
Yeah,
look at the picture?
I don't know what that one was. That wasn't my drink.
Oh, were you guys? Hold on. Did you sit next to each other?
Yeah, it was.
Oh. All right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, he was nice enough, but it wasn't the vibe necessarily.
All right. So last night's date, He didn't. Did he wish you happy Mother's Day?
He did.
He did. Did he bring flowers?
No, but
Did he meet?
no,
Did he meet?
no, God,
Spawn?
no.
No, he snuck. He snuck in.
I didn't come to my house. We
Did
went and
not come
met
to your house.
somewhere.
Okay,
So
just
yeah,
checking.
no.
All
So,
right.
but yeah. So no, I mean that one, likely to see him again. So that would be.
I'm with you guys. A margarita in a rock glass is. I don't know what's going on with this speakeasy.
I don't. I want to.
Funky speakeasy.
It was some kind of old fashioned something or other, if I remember right. I'm not positive.
Old fashioned with salt on there. All right, whatever.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah. So I mean, it just wasn't. He just wasn't for me. So
okay. So if anybody's looking for a small-handed man who lies about his height, was he nice?
Yeah, he was nice enough. I just wasn't feeling it. I think would like to see me again, and I just I sent a thank you text, and then he mentioned he'd like to see me again, and I didn't respond.
Have you thought about creating something called like a dating service called The Leftovers, and you just pass along your leftovers?
No, because I just cut ties and just move on. That's.
I am incapable of that. As good as I am at Irish goodbyes, I am incredibly bad at like cutting ties from any sort of relationship and moving. You know that.
Once I'm done with somebody, you're almost like you never existed. You were never a thing to me. So I just move on.
For those of you who have been asking how to get on Jen's roster, just be prepared to know that it could be one and done with you, and I'm sure you would then be removed from the Discord. So keep that in mind. You better have what it takes.
Yeah, definitely not. Look, any Discord people are not available for.
They're not. If they're in the Discord, they're ineligible.
Yeah, because I don't. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, there's weirdos on the internet.
That's true.
There could be
just weirdos in our Discord. Almost everybody. Really,
a lot of them.
Almost all of us are weird.
Discord.
Yeah.
So
Dragon Wizard's leaving Discord.
So.
Oh no, we have a mass exodus happening in Discord now. God damn it, Jen. I'm a spawn on this. You shouldn't date. You're fucking my shit up. No more dating.
She's a whole. Her whole thing. She's so extra about the whole thing. Like she's not thrilled about it, but she'll be fine.
I love her for that. I think she needs to give you some heartache. Your life's been way too easy.
Oh yeah. The fact that I'm not locked in a padded room should scare people.
All right. Well, do your thing. Let's get started.
All right. So like everybody knows, you've been here. We do the show each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. We have a gift goal that we need to hit each day so that we can keep doing this each day. So with that $3.50 up top, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all of that go towards knocking out the gift goal. If we have a preference, the Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal are more preferable because YouTube takes a good chunk. So if you guys could help us knock out that goal, that would be awesome. Like we mentioned, we have members-only events through the Discord. So if you're a paid member or subscriber on either platform, you can join us for those member-only events. On Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub, so you can use it for free, a sub for free. And then we have a variety of different memberships on YouTube. If you guys disagree with RTB and would like to come up and talk to him, you can do that by sending me a message on Discord. My Discord handle is the same as the Venmo, so Jen with 2 N's, Deb with 2 B's, the number 1. And I can bring you up to have that conversation. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes.
Hey, I did my Cameo yesterday. I got it done with 30 minutes to spare. Yeah. Well, I got it done a lot earlier, but apparently you have to leave the Cameo app open in order for the video to process. So I caught it right towards the end. Thank goodness I had to poop, and I needed like a little alone time with my phone, and I caught it then.
So, yeah. So also check out the link tree in the bio on most social media platforms. So there's all that. So I've got these longer jokes. So
okay,
a little longer.
Typical sizest.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. A pea, a lemon, and a potato were leaving a bar at the top of a very steep hill. A pea, a lemon, and a potato.
All right.
leaving the bar at the top of a very steep hill after a long night. The P, feeling quite energetic, shouted, "Lads, we're all round. Let's just roll home," and immediately shot down the hill. The lemon wobbled after him, but his oval shape made him list violently from the side to side, which did nothing for his unsettled stomach.
Made him so you. I don't know if you cut out or paused right there. It made him what?
No, I just the word like I copy and pasted this joke on my spreadsheet, and the word was list.
Okay,
but his oval shape made him list violently.
Okay.
So I paused because I was trying to see if I couldn't figure out the right word. Anyway, so that's what it says. List violently from side to side, which did nothing for his unsettled stomach. The potato followed behind, trotting along slowly. That when the potato finally reached the bottom, he found the lemons leaning against the lamppost, looking very pale and clearly sick. The pea, however, was already jumping up and down. "That was brilliant. Let's do that again." The potato looked at the lemon, then back at the pea, and said, "Easy peasy, lemon squeezy."
Jesus. No. That's fucking horrific. That is so bad. Axe said, "Wish me some luck, fam. Been in the hospital since Friday. Back surgery. Oh, damn. They won't let me leave at the moment because heart rate is better. 120, 130. Was under the knife for 8 hours. By the way, same side sitter is weird. I'm with you on that. Damn, Ack. Back surgery is a motherfucker, and that is a high heart rate. When I get that, I just immediately panic and assume that I'm dying. So I hope you get feeling better. We love you. I hope they give you some great drugs while you're sitting in there. Let's get started with the show today. I do have some longer videos today, and if we're being honest, I'm a little burned out on politics right now, and I'm only burned out on like the actual politics because these motherfuckers aren't doing anything. They do absolutely nothing, and we have to cover it every single day as if they're going to do something, and they're not doing anything. So I'm trying to branch out and talk more about ideas and stuff outside of our federal government until they decide to do anything, which it doesn't look like that's coming anytime soon. Hopefully midterms will change some things up, and we may actually get some stuff done. Are the videos longer than that joke? They're about the same. That made me laugh. Thank you. Stickers for cookers. That's a good one. And let me just give you an example here. Here's Secretary Mark Wayne Lee Harvey McMullins McStuffins Donnie Marie Osmond Mullins just openly confessing now that this Congress never was going to do anything. They were just going to do what Trump said. They were going to bypass their own role. They were going to hand all of their power over to Trump always. That's always been their plan. If they don't get their way, they just say, fuck the Constitution. We out. Soup for My Fam says, just a little TikTok gossip. Hoodlum was recorded admitting to searching CSAM. Is that real, Jen? That joke was longer than Jay with the car. But you know what? I did, for the first time, I say I had to warn my girlfriend about a lot of things with this job. I did tell her the rug story yesterday, and I don't know how well that went.
So I was listening to that live when I wasn't listening exactly when he told the story. And I mentioned this in tea time because they were talking about it over there yesterday, I think it was.
A lot of people saying, yes, it's real. Whoa.
Well, it wasn't exactly worded that way. It was.
He said he did it for research and then reported it. Oh, goddamn, dude.
So he said he was looking into some different things. I don't remember it. My issue with this as a whole, and I've said this 1,000 times, is a lot of people that weren't actually in there and witnessed it themselves. A lot of people are just repeating what they heard from other people, what they said. So I was there. So he told the story about him looking into some stuff. I didn't hear him talk about the CSAM part, but he did admit that he looked at some sketchy stuff. So
gross. Really, really fucking gross.
But for research, so he could find out the information. So.
All right. Well, TikTok's a hellhole, and Being banned on TikTok while Hoodie still exists over there is pretty wild. Ty does want to know, Jen, does Jen like black guys? That's what Ty wants to know. For the record, Ty in this picture appears to be a black man, so
I'm not. I don't have any aversion to black guys.
They just have to be tall, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right. Perfect. There was one other one I missed, I thought. Double check here. I thought I missed one more. Oh, you sent me one. That's right. You sent it. Jeremy said, did you hear that the first UFC fight at the UFC White House will be Mark, Wayne, McMullen, McStuffin, Lee Harvey, Oswald, Donnie and Marie, Osmond, Mullen versus Pete Keg's Breath? I did not hear that. That's going to just be awful. I did watch UFC this weekend, which was great because Donald Trump wasn't there. So that's neat. Is Ty that fucking loser from when Jay did debates? No. That it's not that Ty. Different Ty. Good Ty. This is good Ty. We like this Ty. Ty's been around for a while. Sorry, Ty, that you get looped in with that other loser. Okay, here's Lee Harvey, McMullins, McStuffin, Osmond, just explaining now what their plan is. As the government stays shut down all the time. This is why I'm sick of fucking politics. The government gets shut down all the time. Why does it get shut down? The Republicans want to do something. They don't have the votes for it. The Democrats don't want to do that thing. The Republicans say, we're not going to budge. The Democrats say, we're not going to budge, and nobody budges. And then we hand over the Constitution to a wannabe dictator. That's where we're at right now. Their fucking job is to negotiate and compromise. That's why we have an electoral college. That's why we have a Senate with 100 people. That's why there's certain thresholds you need to meet in order for a law to pass. That's how this shit is supposed to work. And they're just openly saying all the time, hey, we know how shit's supposed to work, but it's the other side's fault for not giving us exactly what we want, so we're going to do what we want. And for the record, this is likely going to happen after the midterms as well. Republicans will just vote against everything. Democrats will push it through. Trump will try and veto it. Then it'll have to go back to the Senate and the House and see if we can overturn it. Our government is dog shit. And everybody who does shit like this should just be removed.
To address reconciliation, understand.
Zap said, thank you for the super chat. Said for Short King awareness. That's right. Short Kings, don't worry about it just because Jen's out there and having her preferences, which we all agree. Jen is elitist when it comes to height. But shout out Short Kings. There's somebody for everybody. People just like Jen likes tall guys. Some people like short guys. Some people don't have a preference on height.
Why President Trump and myself had to make this play call. We don't want to.
I don't know why there's music behind this, by the way. This was from Furkan Gozakara. I don't know why there's music behind this.
Separate two components from the other 20 components there, but we didn't have a choice. Why didn't we have a choice? Because Congressman Representative Thompson, I believe it was, said, yeah, he's willing to shut it down again September 30th if he doesn't get his way. If they don't defund CPB and ICE. So the president and I, with a phone call with Leader Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson, as we were sitting in the office, said, what do we do here? If we reopen it, the Democrats are going to shut us right back down for the 5th time in a year, because we've been shut down 4 times already.
And when you say then they shut down, it means you didn't negotiate. I'm so fucking tired of this. These are all children. They're all children. The minority party is allowed to negotiate. That's how this works. You have to negotiate, Republicans. You can't just wait till the government shuts down and blame Democrats. We're getting absolutely nothing done. We're not addressing any sort of spending, even the entitlement spending that Republicans want to address. All the waste, fraud, and abuse that Republicans claim they care about. You can't do that without negotiation, and they refuse to negotiate ever.
If we continue to play this game, the option we had is, okay, let's do it through reconciliation. Yeah, you're right. It's not a way to fund government. But because of the political theater that the Democrats continue to play, we have no choice. President Trump said, fine, let's do it through reconciliation.
You do have a choice. You could negotiate. I don't know why negotiation is political theater, but you can negotiate. That's what you can do. By the way, this is a budget reconciliation. What they're talking about is it's a procedure that you can use that allows just certain spending and it allows you to kind of like bypass debt limit legislation with a simple majority of 51 votes and the vice president rather than the 60 to overcome a filibuster. So it's basically the Republicans recognizing they have enough of a majority they can slide temporary funding through, and they're just going to keep doing that. And now they're saying, oh, we're going to do it for 3 years. They've legitimately just decided that they're going to, and because they know they're going to lose the primaries, or excuse me, the midterms, they're now doing a 3-year budget reconciliation, just bypassing the Constitution, bypassing all norms to get what they want. Negotiate with Democrats. I mean, negotiate with Republicans. Ha 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 ha. Mark, it's the same fucking thing. Jesus Christ. How can you sit there in the comments and be like, I can't believe you can't negotiate with Democrats? Name one thing Republicans are capable of negotiating with. Nothing. Because they have all sold out to Donald Trump. They have literally just handed their power away to Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump versus the US government. That's where our country sits right now. Whether you're a Trump fan or not, you can't pretend this is good. We're blowing through money. For right now, we have now hit a scenario where our spending on interest, the interest on our debt, is bigger than the military budget. Because we don't do anything to reform spending goddamn ever. Our military budget, which is one of the biggest individual line items in our budget, we spend more on interest than funding the military. If you have the power, you don't need to ask permission. No, Ian, no. Have you heard of America? Bro, you sound like, go back to the monarchy. Is that the plan? You know who didn't need to ask permission? Kings. We have a constitution for a reason. I don't know why you Republicans say shit like this. Is this really what you want? Ian, this might not be the place for you, Ian. Somebody direct Ian to a dumber place to be.
And we'll do it for 3 years. That way, they can't continue to play games with our men and women out there protecting us every single day. I get that people have strong opinions about this, but the truth is, it's the only option we have.
If I don't follow it, why should we? One, I do follow it. I cover it every day. And two, why would you? You're just like, I'm going to be stupid because I think other people are stupid. I mean, just be smarter, Ian.
We're going to fight every single day to make sure that they can't play games with our law enforcement.
You're playing a fucking game. You can't say everybody's playing games, so we're going to play a new game. I don't know if I've ever been more open to the idea that this entire thing is just like a cruel joke. Like this whole fucking thing is a simulation. This is so embarrassing. I don't care who you voted for. If you can't look at our government right now, and look, we can say it with Democrats. I agree with that, but like if you can't correctly identify that the Republican Party is just whatever this bloviated fuck says, then I'm not sure you know what you're watching, and I'm not really sure you deserve democracy. You get it, and we're going to fight for democracy for you, but maybe we don't deserve it. Maybe we do need to go back to a monarchy. But what you're going to get instead is you're going to get all these weird-ass tech oligarchs taking over our country and running everything. What we've given to these tech oligarchs is going to be a goddamn nightmare to take back. With Donald Trump cutting regulation and selling our government to the private companies, has made every single politician subject to blackmail. All the stuff that we complain about with AIPAC and with Netanyahu and frankly with the Epstein files, all that stuff that's been exposed and how easily manipulated government officials are and how little you actually need over a government official to get them to do what you want. This administration is handing that over to psychopath billionaires. Your search history, your text messages, your porn history, anything you've done on a private browser, look, whatever you're doing on WhatsApp, whatever you're doing on Facebook, Instagram, all that shit, anything you've ever said, even in jest. See what happens if you get a little bit of power. Was it democracy the way Democrats ran the 2024 election? Yeah, it was, Mark. It was democracy. And this is another instance of you guys just educate yourselves a little bit. If you understand how primaries work, you don't have to participate in the primary to win. You know how I know that? Because Donald Trump didn't go to a single debate. He didn't go to a single Republican debate. You know who voted for Kamala Harris? The delegates. You know who else they had choices to vote for? They had who else? They had Marianne Williamson and RFK who dropped out. And anybody could have jumped in the race when Joe Biden dropped out. Anybody. And nobody did. And yes, that's because they all saw basically no path forward for them to win, because it was so late in the game that it made the most sense to take a campaign that was already in full swing with Biden and give it to Kamala Harris. But I don't even know why you care about any of this. That benefited you so much. It was great for you. You got to run against a woman, a black woman that was vice president during COVID. It was best case scenario for you. But yeah, it was democracy in the way that our democracy is set up. We have a representative republic. Our primaries are representative. If you've ever went and voted in a primary, what you may not know is you're voting for delegates. Those delegates represent you, and they don't always vote for who you voted for. They can change their vote if they want to. If as a delegate, I was a state delegate multiple times, I could have changed who I voted for. I could have not represented the people who chose me as their delegate and voted for somebody else. And then we would have just had to wait till the next primary season for them to not choose me as a delegate again. But yes, the delegates absolutely voted for Kamala Harris. I had enough time for a debate. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Mark? Are you still sticking to this? We covered that. All right. I want to show you the backtracking here. Now, this is Energy Secretary Chris Wright. And again, one of the other problems that we have, and I think, frankly, I disagree with Donald Trump on a lot of things. I think everybody here knows that. That's not a surprise. Most of the people who watch this show are in disagreement with Donald Trump. Some of you are in favor of what Donald Trump does. But because he is so powerful and because he can do whatever he wants, and there is never anybody who holds his feet to the fire, they can say things like, oh, we're going to have gas prices lower in a year. Which Donald Trump, we showed the supercut last week. Donald Trump just repeat, by next summer, you're going to have the lowest gas prices. In 1 year, gas prices are going to be cut down. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to be energy independent. We're not doing any of that. We are not energy independent. We're selling our energy. And at a time when Americans could be okay because of the amount of oil that we have, we didn't do anything to prepare for this. And so we're selling our oil to the world, driving up prices. It's not benefiting you. The tax revenue is marginal because we don't tax these billionaires. All that's happening is oil companies are getting more and more rich. And when pressed of like, hey, you said in a year these prices would go down, Chris Wright just in March was saying by summer, like, we're going to see those prices come back down, which is a dumb claim then because gas prices always go up in the summer. It was dumb for them to say it then, but we had a war that didn't make any sense that we had engaged in, and they told us it was going to be a couple weeks, and obviously we're way past a couple of weeks. So now Chris Wright has to come back on NBC and backtrack on what he said.
Do you want to talk about the big issue for Americans? Gas prices, of course. You just heard me discuss how high they went this week. Here's what you said in this program in March about.
Yeah, I'm with you. Our refineries aren't capable of refining this heavy crude we drill. That's why we have to import oil. That's what I was saying. Like, why didn't we build up that infrastructure? I agree with you, Namasi. But when Trump was running on, we're going to be energy independent. Sorry about that. Sorry, Kristen Welker, on that screen or pause. But he said we were going to be energy independent. The only way to be energy independent is if we refine our own oil, which we did nothing about. We didn't make new refineries to become energy independent. The energy independence thing was just a fucking lie. It was Donald Trump saying, we're going to fuck with everybody else who sells oil. We're going to try and destabilize the other oil markets so that the oil barons in this country can make more money. That's all that happened.
About gas prices. Take a look. Are you confident that gas will be back under $3 a gallon by the busy summer travel season, Mr. Secretary?
There's a very good chance that'll be true. There's no guarantees in war. The time frame's still not entirely clear, but I think that's certainly a goal of the.
No, there is a guarantee in war in the United States that it will always be about 10 years longer than they said it was going to be.
Administration and very possible.
Do you think it's still very possible that gas prices will dip below $3 a gallon in time for summer, which is about 6 weeks?
I can't make any predictions about, oil prices or gasoline prices. The military part of the conflict took about what we expected. I think the president was guiding 4 to 6 weeks, took 5.5 weeks.
No, we're still bombing. This is another thing that's very frustrating about our government currently. They're just lying. It's over. We did the military part. Well, then what's the military doing? Shouldn't they be home now? Shouldn't they stop launching attacks?
After the main military operations have ceased, now we're in a negotiating period. We're using economic leverage against Iran, and this regime is trying to cling on to their nuclear program. So obviously this part of the conflict has gone a little longer.
President Trump hasn't ruled.
All right. So obviously, we're not going to have lower prices this summer. That was a fucking lie. They're lying to us about the fact that this war is, I guess the military part of this war is over. What they're saying. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and I saw you say that Wyoming's building a nuclear power plant. That's good. I'll take that over coal. And you said they're replacing a coal power plant? Awesome. Eddie? What part did I get wrong? If you say I agree, I don't like Trump. It's fair for you to say that I'm biased against Trump. It's fair for you to maybe even say Trump derangement syndrome. But don't you think you should point to something that we're getting wrong here? Is there something that I'm getting wrong, or do you just think that criticism of Trump is Trump derangement syndrome? Is there anything good that you can consider about Trump? Honestly, he's not a very redeeming person. Like on a personal level, no. Somebody asked me this on Friday. I don't know. What am I supposed to like that he did? What has he done that I should like? I guess for some people, it doesn't affect me, but for some people, some of the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, I guess that could benefit some people. Child tax credit, that could benefit some people. The problem is that his economic decisions have been so disastrous that it's offset any cuts that people or any cuts to taxes or reimbursements people have gotten. Like inflation's outpacing wage growth, and more Americans are falling behind on their bills. So I don't. What do you want me to point to, Eddie? I know I'm sick. I get it, but what do you think? What am I supposed to point to, Eddie? Tell me something I'm supposed to be happy about here, or you just want to yell? All right, moving on here. This was interesting. This is George Packer. I'm trying to remember. He is, I forgot to put his resume here. I'm mixing him up, I think, with the next person. I think he's just a novelist. Yeah, he's a writer. And he specializes in foreign policy. He was on with Morning Joe. And what I wanted to show this, what was it? I think it was before the election. Maybe it was right after the election that we did our series on unveiling the American oligarchy. If you're new here, you can go back on our YouTube channel. I think we did it in 3 parts. And it was a deep dive into the oligarchs that we rightfully predicted would take over the government and would run the government. And it's nice to see mainstream media a year and a half later finally catching on to shit that everybody should have seen in the first place, but they were afraid to say it because those same billionaire donors fund MS Now or MSNBC at that time, and places like Morning Joe. Joe Scarborough is also owned by those same entities. So I was happy to see him bring on George Packer. And I think now it's politically expedient for Joe Scarborough to start saying, oh, maybe there is a problem with these tech billionaires. But that's why I'm showing it.
I wanted to talk about 3 people, David Sachs, who you've profiled, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel, all of them either from South.
Sorry, real quick. Amy said, did you see Iran is thinking China's deal to call end to the war is a good path? Trump bragging for a deal and says Iran says hell no. Yeah, we'll get to that. Illusion said war at 70 plus days and there's no actual ceasefire. Agreed.
Africa or spent formative years in South Africa. I know you don't.
Did I forget Keystone? No, no. No. I didn't forget Keystone. If you could tell me what the Keystone pipeline is, a pipeline that takes tar sands oil from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico and is shipped out. It doesn't benefit us in the slightest. You should look up what the Keystone pipeline is.
Piece them together that way. But I just think it's fascinating that three people, either from or people that spent formative time in South Africa, would have such a powerful impact. And also, all three, and we can go through it specifically, are harshly critical of Western democracy and do not think that liberal democracy is the preferred form of government. Talk about David Sachs and his views, and the others as far as you're comfortable talking about them.
David Sachs has been an interesting one because David Sachs, as mentioned by Joe Scarborough, has been Trump's crypto czar. He was part of the PayPal mafia, and he's kind of been like oddly lukewarm on the Trump administration, despite working with them. He's one of the few that has called out the obvious problem staring in front of us of wealth inequality. And so I think that's why they're focusing on David Sachs. But it has been remarkable to watch them ignore Peter Thiel and Curtis Yarvin and Mark Andreessen. Andreessen specifically, just flying under the radar. Joe Lonsdale, Alex Karp. I would love to see Morning Joe wake the fuck up and just do this every morning. They don't need to cover everyday politics. They need to cover the oligarchy for a while.
Well, I've spent quite a bit of time with Thiel some years ago when I was writing about him. And you're absolutely right that Thiel has famously said freedom and democracy are in.
Eddie, if you say Keystone one more time, we're just going to get rid of you. It's silly. I'm trying to read the chat and engage, and it's distracting. Please stop. We've already discussed Keystone.
Famously said freedom and democracy are incompatible, meaning for him to be able to live his life as he wants and make money as he wants is impossible under a liberal democracy where people who have the vote who don't believe in his libertarian views. Sachs is not very interested in political philosophy in my research. He is an entrepreneur and a venture capitalist, and he is mostly interested in making money. So he and Thiel go way back to Stanford.
That's all libertarians. They're all liars. Almost every libertarian is just a fucking liar. There's like 3 that are real libertarians. They just say that they're libertarian because they don't get taxed. That's their way of having like a principled stance against taxes. But they're all just crony capitalists trying to take all of the wealth and put it into their pockets.
They were at the Stanford Review together.
Just ban Eddie. Eddie can go.
Which was a conservative publication Thiel founded. They then were at PayPal, which Thiel co-founded with Musk, and where Sachs played an important part. They have a long history. And now what's really interesting, Joe, is how, having kept their distance on Washington because they really didn't believe in any role for government in their industry, in technology, they now have kind of captured the Trump administration. And Sachs spent a year as Trump's AI and crypto advisor. And in that year, he essentially aligned government.
This is what's beautiful about being Donald Trump is you can just take bribes from all these guys, and you know that the people who vote for you don't know anything. And so they'll just keep supporting you while you do their bidding. Like they just watch them they just watch all the wealth be sucked into the hands of like a handful of people, and then they cheerlead it. Why? Because they love Donald Trump. That's the beauty of this for him. That's the beauty of the Republican Party. They realized with Trump that, oh my God, none of the people who vote for us know anything. As long as we tell them what they want to hear, they won't know what we're actually doing. They don't pay attention to that. They love the sound bites. We'll just keep telling them that we're doing stuff for them. Meanwhile, we're going to hand over all of the wealth to a handful of people.
Government policy with the wishes of those industries and not with what I would consider more the public interest. And so in a way, they've now come
STV, you can go back and watch previous shows. We do this every day. Every day we bring up the bribes. You can go back. I think Friday we covered it. I think last Wednesday we covered it. I have a 3 or 4 part series called Uncovering the American Oligarchy. You can look that up. Or if you would like to come up and talk to us about these bribes and this type of corruption, you can message JenDub1, JenNDUBB1 on Discord, and you can come up and you can talk to me about it. But yeah, we're not going to derail the show to do something we do twice a week.
Around having been hardcore libertarians all their lives to a view that government can actually be useful to their financial interests, their business interests, and their sense that really the world should be ruled by a small number of very smart, very wealthy men, which is, I guess, another word for oligarchy.
Which is what you have now backed yourself into a corner of supporting. All these people funding Trump are on the record saying democracy is an impediment. We need to get rid of democracy. We need to have a technocracy, a tech oligarchy, if you will. And they believe that they're so much smarter than you and I and everybody else in America that we can't be trusted to make our own decisions. So we need to get rid of that pesky democracy and let these lunatics run the country. Does that sound like something you would like, Republicans? Do you want a bunch of tech billionaires running the country? It wasn't that long ago that you hated all the tech companies. It wasn't that long ago that you hated all the social media companies. And now you're like, maybe they should run everything. That's what pledging your loyalty to Donald Trump has gotten you, is you've now completely sold out to oligarchs.
Well, you know, they believe in capitalism when it comes to single mothers who they think should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But when it comes to tech billionaires, they're all for socialism, all for the federal government giving them money and helping them out.
STV, and that's the point. Show me one person who supports Trump that said what just came out of your mouth. Mark Andreessen, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Curtis Yarvin, Alex Karp, Joe Lonsdale. You just don't know. They don't care what you say. And that's the point. The people paying Trump, this is what they want. You don't know this because Trump doesn't tell you any of this stuff. They just pretend it's not happening. I don't believe that you guys support anything. I honestly don't think there's anything that you actually support. Otherwise, you would criticize Donald Trump when he doesn't deliver on his promises. You just love him. And that's what that's what people are starting to wake up to. And it's not just me, right? Like it's not just lefties. Like Tucker Carlson talks about this. If we've got incels here, Nick Fuentes talks about this. Candace Owens talks about this. The InfoWars people talk about this. Tim Pool talks about this. Everybody talks about this. They're just not willing to pin it on Donald Trump. They're not willing to make that next logical step because none of these people have power unless they're able to infiltrate our government, which they've done. There's very few of those people are willing to make that reach. I think probably Fuentes has made that reach. Tucker has made that reach. Maybe Candace Owens has made that reach. But you guys just ignore that part, which is weird. I want to show you too. I do think that we're starting to get a clearer vision of how this ends, especially the AI bubble. There's no question about it that the AI investment in this country is a bubble. It's no different than the .com bubble. Everybody thinks AI is the way to go. If you work for a company, it's likely that your company has made a change in the last year and said AI is the future. We need to adopt AI. We need to adapt to AI, and we need to integrate AI into our business. It's just like the .com bubble. It's not going to work for everybody. It's not viable financially for everybody. And the amount of money pouring into AI investments right now is doing one thing and one thing only. It's holding our stock market up. It's propping the stock market up. And just again, like the .com bubble, at some point, capital runs out and people start looking at revenues from these AI companies, and they are bleeding fucking money. They're bleeding money. I don't remember the revenue of OpenAI, but it's something like 17 billion, I think. Let's see, what was the revenue? I should have had that. What was their revenue last year? 20 billion in 2025, and they have like 1.3 trillion dollars in committed spending. They've committed to spend 1.3 trillion dollars. They're getting 20 billion a year. And that 1.3 trillion in spending is over like the next 8 years. There's no way for this to work. You can ban STVN too. You can get rid of Steven. So it's a bubble. But this was really interesting. This is Tudor Jones. He runs, I think it might be called like the Tudor Fund. I can't remember. Paul Tudor Jones, but he's a hedge fund manager. And one of the better traders we've ever seen, one of the most successful hedge fund managers. I don't show this because I think what he's doing is great. I'm showing this because even those with a lot of money recognize that at some point this is going to collapse. He's going to mention Warren Buffett, who's sitting on like $300+ billion worth of cash, so that when this crashes, he can capitalize on that. If there's all the smart investors I know are sitting on some sort of liquidity, so that when it crashes, they can invest. But virtually everybody understands where this is headed.
Markets for a second. I want to know, you got back from this conference, and I want to know short-term, long-term, what you decided to do about it.
I bought more AI stocks.
You did?
Absolutely.
And when you say you bought more AI stocks, was that the big hyperscalers? Was that the semiconductor chips?
Oh, sorry. Don said no tax on overtime would be great, except I've gotten almost no overtime since Trump's been back in office. Yeah, I did think that's the case for a lot of people.
So again, I'm a macro trader.
Yep.
So I just buy baskets, and what I would simply say is it's a crazy time. If I had to pick,
yeah, Illusion. Buffett got completely out. He liquidated tons of his positions, and he's just sitting on the liquidated positions that he has. So he's just sitting on piles of cash. I'm sure he's also investing in treasuries, but he has a ton of liquid capital that he can use after the crash.
you know, I love always to find historical precedents. You can kind of look at the productivity miracle around the introduction of the PC, 81, 82, really 81, 77. See, I would kind of say 1977 when Apple dropped theirs was kind of like ChatGPT, but it wasn't until Microsoft brought their PC in 81 when you got widespread commercial adoption. So ChatGPT in 22, I kind of think Claude Code, January of this year, would be the equivalent of when Microsoft came out in 81. And then 95, we kind of look at when we finally allowed the internet to be used for
ChatGPT, yeah.
commercial purposes. I think that was May of 95, and then Windows 95 came in a few months later. Those were both the beginning of productivity miracles that lasted 4 to 5.5 years. We're kind of, I'd say, 50 or 60%. If I had to pick a period, we've got another year or two to run.
Okay, because I remember we spoke about a year ago.
Okay. You can go back and look at the investors right before the economic collapse of 08. What they're all saying is, like, we're at all-time highs. There's still more time for this market to run. And here's why it's so hard to predict. It's really, really hard to predict when capital will run out. But what we do know is that people are finding really unique sources of capital. A lot of people are finding foreign investment. The Saudis, who, in my best estimation, have made some of the worst investments you'll ever see. They invested into, obviously, Jared Kushner's company. They've invested heavily into World Liberty Financial. They just pulled out of Live Golf. They've overpaid for tons of professional sports franchises. They overpaid investing in the UFC. They just overpay everywhere, and it's inflating all these values. And the Saudis now are looking at the potential return on their investments, and they're like, uh-oh. And they're starting to try and get out of these positions. But we've relied a lot on Gulf countries to prop up our markets, and they're running out of liquidity. And this war in the Middle East isn't helping. So when he says 1 to 2 years, again, it's impossible to entirely guess when people are going to run out of capital or when capitalists are going to say, this isn't a good time. But I think 1 to 2 years is really, really glass half full. I think it's going to come a lot sooner than that, because it looks like it's already slowing. And some of the institutional investors who have put money in, they're pulling their money out right now.
And you thought we were maybe in the fall of 99.
I said it felt like 99.
What was so interesting about that
was October last year.
Right, there was still 40% to go.
Yeah, and so I said, so that's my second favorite one. Okay. Which is, again, we continue to feel like 99. And it's so funny if you kind of compare, if you look at multiples and earnings and everything, we're kind of where we were in October, November of 99. So whether you're looking at the productivity miracles and you want to look at it that way, where we've got another 2 years to run and 40% to go. Or you think, I'm going to go pick out a specific time where if I just even look at kind of price analogs and stuff, it feels more like, again, we're back to fourth quarter 99. You've got another ramp to go. You got more runway.
What happens after that? Because
it's going to be crazy.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, Illusion. The market speed now is way faster, and just because of access. In 99, we were still kind of coming into, computers were being adopted in the workplace, but the proliferation of the internet wasn't the same. You didn't have all these private equity companies. You had far less hedge fund managers. You had way less access to data. So trying to say, like, compare this to 99 and the speed in which the collapse happened, you can only assume because of the speed everything happens in this world that collapse happens sooner.
to 2001, you may have had 40% more, but if you continued to ride it too far.
Well, I mean, just imagine the stock market went up another 40%. The stock market GDP is going to probably be, good Lord, 300, 350%. Wow. Something on a 17-vol instrument. You just know that there'll be some. It'll be one of those breathtaking kind of corrections.
Or do you play the Berkshire card, which is, Warren is still sitting on $380 billion of cash, waiting for the moment.
Yeah, I'd just be happy to sit on 300. I think.
Fucking dirtbag. I wish I had 300 billion. You have billions of dollars. This is a billionaire. I wish I had 300 billion that I could just sit there and capitalize on all of these Americans who are going to lose their retirements. I wish I could buy that all up and make a fortune.
You've certainly got a runway. The reason I like 99 is, remember we had Y2K?
Yep.
And that was kind of holding the Fed back because everyone was afraid of that. Well, now we've got the election this fall, and you've got Kevin Hart coming in as Fed chairman. Do I think he'll cut rates? No chance. But do I think he would raise rates before the election? Even though, good Lord, we got a 6% budget deficit. We're going to have a 1% GDP spend just from the hyperscalers on infrastructure.
Trump announced an Iran ceasefire. Happy to manipulate the markets Monday. Yeah. So that didn't. Do we even have to look it up? It didn't happen. Here's my guess. Trump announced it. And if Iran hasn't, if Iran hasn't responded already, Iran will say, "And no, that didn't happen," and the market will go up.
Build out. You've got so.
They did. They announced there's no. And there we go. This is so fucking predictable.
Much juice.
So you would raise them.
Well, I'd be thinking about raising them. I'd want to see the data, but for sure you'd be thinking about it. And I think he's going to be constrained before the election. So again, there's that kind of. You get that feeling again that we're 99 because those guys were holding back because of Y2K, right? And things were just on the ramp.
Right.
There we go. Warsh will lower rates until 2028 election season, then we'll raise them to lower inflation for GOP. I don't know. Because his board is going to recommend that he does not lower rates. If he lowers rates, that's so incredibly corrupt. Just like the anti-math Fed chair. Just do it again. Then that's when we'll see that there's no end to how much power Trump has. Tanya, thank you for the $10. Shane says, remind Eddie, the Keystone is still flowing and we produced more oil under Biden than ever before. That's a good reminder. Not to bring up the Keystone pipeline again. I feel like we ended that, but thank you. Okay. This was moving on from finances. I don't know how our country is ever going to embrace AOC. I don't know how long it takes. I have a group chat with two of my friends who are not Republican, but are like Republican adjacent. And it's like pulling teeth to get people to view AOC as anything other than hot. Like that's the only thing I can get any of my male friends to view her as. It's like I bring up a policy and they're like, she's so hot. And that's it. That's as far as their brains can get. This is a really good answer. And I appreciate this about AOC. And this is what you can appreciate about politicians who aren't owned by super PACs and lobbyists, is that you can actually answer questions honestly. And she's also not owned by the DNC. She gets threatened by the DNC all the time. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they all get treated this way. This was a great answer. I feel like the question here from David Axelrod took about 40 minutes longer than it needed to. But I appreciate AOC, and I think that there is a place. We're going to watch a video here in a minute, but I think the evolution of American politics are going to be politicians who are obviously not beholden to their party, go out of their way to make it very public that they disagree with their party and stop giving you these canned answers. I think that's, if we're ever going to get away from where we're at now, you're just going to need authentic candidates. And whatever you want to say about AOC, she's authentic.
But last thing before we go to the students, because I would be drawn and quartered if I did not say this. There are a lot of people who would like you to run for president in 2028. Apparently some of them are here. And there are people who, there are others who would like you to run for the United States Senate. Senator Schumer's up in 2028.
Yes, please. For the record, I would much rather her replace Chuck Schumer, just because I don't know what her nationwide electability is. I would much rather see her replace. Getting rid of Chuck Schumer is a win for everybody. That's a huge win.
I don't know. It sounded like even more. Should we do it?
To New York or to other parts of the country?
How many would like AOC to stay in Congress? See, they want you to make a move.
Yeah.
What say you about all of this?
You know, it's funny because in this op-ed that Jeff Bezos paid for in the Washington Post,
I didn't even have to pay for it. He just said the Washington Post will not write anything that is not pro-capitalism, pro-big business. So the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, hates her. How come all the rich people, how come all the powerful people in this country, the lobbyists, big pharma, big tech, big oil, how come they all hate AOC and you guys just happen to agree with her? Why are they so threatened by AOC? If she's so corrupt and she's so dumb, it would seem like she'd be a perfect candidate for them to line up and hand cash to, but she doesn't take any of their money. You guys really think that all the most powerful, corrupt people in this country hate AOC? And your hatred for her is actually like warranted when all you can ever say is that she's dumb or that she was a bartender? She's brilliant. But pay attention to who hates politicians. Pay attention to the money coming in against politicians. And then maybe use that to make assumptions on whether or not this politician can be bought.
Line that you had mentioned earlier about, well, as a potential 2028 contender, XYZ. And in the context of that, it was very clear this was a veiled threat, right? So the elite saying, if you want this job, you just stepped out of line. And we want you to know where the real power is. And it's in the modern day barons who own the Post and own the algorithms, and we'll make an example out of you. And what's funny about that is that they assume that my ambition is positional. They assume that my ambition is a title or a seat. And
see how it doesn't work on her? She doesn't give a fuck about her own party threatening her. Not only does she not give a fuck, she's doing a really, really good job explaining how these little comments from people like Chuck Schumer are veiled threats. She's breaking down the power structure of her own party. There's not a lot of people willing to do that. That's the type of politician we need. She's just giving away the game. She's giving you lessons on politics. As an insider, she's on stage like, as an insider, here's how they operate. Here's how they make sure they're controlled. Here's how they take money from lobbyists and they use it to control members of Congress. But no, she's hot, so we can't listen to her. She's hot and a Democrat, so we can't listen to her, right?
And my ambition is way bigger than that. My ambition is to change this country. And presidents come and go, Senate, House seats, elected officials come and go, but single-payer health care is forever. A living wage is forever. Workers' rights are forever. Women's rights, all of that. And so, anyways, a finer point to your question is that when you aren't attached, right? When you haven't been like fantasizing about being this or that since the time you were 7 years old, it is tremendously liberating, because I get to wake up every day and say, how am I going to meet the moment? And conditions change radically all the time. So I make my response less to an attachment to some positional, like, title or position.
Auntie, for the record, we're not saying she's elected because she's hot. We don't care about that. We're saying that that's all anybody ever says about her. To criticize her. Like, some people will say she's not, but like, she's not taken seriously because of patriarchy. And this is a very simple fucking thing to understand, which is another problem with America. Like, we ignore realities that just simply exist. The patriarchy exists, and you're like, everybody is a victim of it in some way. And everybody. I've never once spoken to anybody who can give me concrete reasons why AOC would be problematic. It's very difficult to get any of you to explain why Kamala Harris was a problem. Now, I have real criticisms of Kamala Harris. There's real criticisms of her, but nobody ever seems to know them. And the criticisms that you can give for AOC, you could absolutely give to most of the men in Congress, but you never hear them. Nobody ever gets criticized for being handsome and a man, like just a dumb guy who gets handsome or who's handsome and winds up in politics. People might disagree with this, but like Corey Mills, the Republican, he's one of those corrupt people in Congress. He's one of the most blatantly stupid people in Congress. And he has a lot of women, like beauty queens. Has a whole roster. I think people think he's handsome. Nobody ever talks to him about him like all he is a handsome face. And it permeates not just men, it permeates women. Even just, you have to overcome running for a national position as a woman in this country, and specifically a woman of color in this country. You have to overcome people's natural disposition, which is that in this country, like it or not, women have never been in charge. They've never been anywhere close to in charge. And so it's a change. It's something different. And people are afraid of change, and they often don't know what they're afraid of. It's just the change itself that they're afraid of. And so even people who might look at AOC and say, I like what she says, I think she's smart. Even then, you put AOC up against, let's say, Mark Kelly. AOC's a much better candidate than Mark Kelly. But a lot of people, without even understanding where their bias comes from, would be like, you know what, Mark Kelly. We've seen it's in this chat all the time. I saw a bunch of people saying Mark Kelly and AOC. AOC, Mark Kelly, 2028. Why? Why Mark Kelly? I'm in Arizona. He's my senator. Why Mark Kelly? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's a guy that takes a lot of money. It's a guy who takes a lot of military industrial complex money. I don't understand that. So even when we throw AOC's name in the mix, it's always like with some moderate white dude. See, you can just read the chat, right? Like, look how upset these men get. With not one of them, not one of you criticizing AOC has come up with anything concrete. Just, I'm dumb because I support AOC. Oh, this is stupid. Oh, you're a simp. Whatever it is, not real criticisms of AOC. Nothing about her policy. Nothing about where she gets her money. It's legitimately just all of you the same shit over and over and over again. You don't. Some of you may not even know. You just know that that's a woman, and something inside you's like, I'm uncomfortable with this. So let's just call the guy who, like, what was wrong with her answer? Can any of you tell me what was wrong with this answer? Can any of you pick a policy that AOC is for that you can make a solid argument against? Roly Poly said, can we talk about how the same crypto billionaires that facilitated the rug pull of the Trump coin just built a 22-foot gold statue of Trump to promote their own crypto? I thought that was fake. Somebody had to show it to me. I thought for sure. Greg says AOC has an asteroid named after her. The MIT Lincoln Laboratory named it in 2007 to honor her second place finish in microbiology at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. But yeah, no, she's just so dumb.
And working backwards from there. But I make decisions by waking up in the morning, looking out the window, and observing the conditions of this country, and saying what move or what decision can I make today that is going to get us closer to that future, stronger, faster, better than yesterday.
You didn't think this answered the question? I think it does. I think what she's saying is that everybody wants to know these questions for the future, but what we have is a power struggle here at the beginning. So I have to, what I took from this is she's, and maybe it's not clear enough. Maybe that's what you're saying. But I think it's an answer to the question. The answer is, like, I have to do what's best. I have to look at where I can make an impact. All right. R. Kelly is someone who could actually win. I support the military. I have no problem with a bigger military, an astronaut, and a 20-year Navy veteran pilot combat. Oh, okay. You wouldn't vote for Mark. Would you vote for, let me ask you this. Was that Eon that said that? Whoever it was that just said they would vote for Mark Kelly. Would you vote for Mark Kelly over Republicans only? Would any of you vote for Mark Kelly over either J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio? Theon, this is not a place for your fantasies about AOC. I noticed that none of you have mentioned a policy that you disagree with her, or some position she's taken that you don't like. The problem here, and this is just like, this is reality. This is the reality of our country. I don't know what we do here, other than we just have to keep talking about it. We have to people have to start feeling really fucking stupid for not being able to answer why they don't like a woman who's running for office. How is it? How is it that we've been a country since 1776, never had a woman president? How's that possible? Can you explain that without saying patriarchy? She supports the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is literally made up. There is no Green New Deal. She supports renewable energy. Thinks abolish prisons are okay? No, she doesn't. She does not. Does she support abolishing prisons? Let's look this up. AOC is not a liberal. Correct. She would be a progressive. She supports Israel. No, she does not. She says she wants to end mass incarceration and explore more rehabilitative alternatives to imprisonment. I agree with that. Make prisons more focused on rehabilitation. We have a problem with that? She does not support Israel. That's crazy. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Do you like that, bad Bambi? Do you not? You just want prisons to be just like hellholes? Well, that's not working. Look at the data on that. I don't know if you agree with her position there, but if you look at our prison system, it's clearly not working. We just keep imprisoning more people. We dominate. We're so good at throwing people in prison for life. It's one of the things America's best at. She gets money from AIPAC? No, she doesn't. AOC is a communist? No, she's a democratic socialist. You don't know what communism is. But again, see how hard it is for you guys to come up with anything true? Let's keep going. Everything you have said so far is not true. 100% AOC is a bartender from New York City. She did serve as a bartender. She also has a degree from a prominent college. Nazi sympathizer, that's a lie. She's also a legend in her own mind. I don't know what that. And foremost, she's a liar. Next, 100%. What did she lie about? This is, and again, like, this is just so representative of the problem that we have. But this is the same, and it's not just trolls. Like, I talk to my friends about this. I try really, really hard to get them to give me something specific they don't like about AOC. They have no idea. She worked through college. Yeah, heaven forbid. AOC's 100% more commie than Trump is a fascist. That's silly. She's not a communist. She doesn't. What communist policy does she push for? Who was that? Michael Stronghold. Tell me one position she holds that would align with communism. AOC's performative politics with no results. Yeah, welcome to everybody in Congress, because Congress is a joke and nobody gets any results. Who in Congress is getting results right now? I love that she's a bartender. I love my friends that can make a proper drink. She supports LGBTQIA plus on gender reforms. Sure, she supports people making their own decisions. Yeah. Sky Fox says MAGA has no idea what progressives actually believe, only what their right-wing echo chamber tells them progressives believe. That is true. And even, again, that same group of friends I have that I try and talk politics with, they don't recognize. They're like, oh, I'm not right-wing. Like, I make up my own mind. It's like, yeah, but your algorithm is informing you. Your algorithm is showing you that one side's crazy and one side is not necessarily crazy. Like, they're just being blocked by the other side. Do you notice how still nothing? Still nothing from any of them. How long? We could do this for probably the entire show, and we wouldn't get one person coming up with a real reason why they wouldn't support AOC. Until we fix this in America, we're going to keep running into this problem, which is why I do support people like AOC who want to get money out of politics. It's important. Stop letting lobbyists lie and set everybody's agenda and make people think that they have this ideological bend to tech oligarchs. Obviously can't. What did you say, Bernie? Let's see. The abolishing of ICE is a terrible stance. A realignment or regulations, sure, but abolishment is just a public mouthpiece opinion. Well, what does she want to do after abolishing ICE? What's her plan? Do you know? Doesn't seem like you know her position there. Actively opposed illegal immigration enforcement. I also actively oppose illegal immigration enforcement. I want legal immigration enforcement. I'm a big fan of ICE keeping the Constitution in mind as they strip people of their rights. Does she know her plan, or is she saying what's popular? She's not running. So what do you mean? And what does she say? What's popular? What the fuck? AOC is not popular. AOC is attacked by everybody. She's the opposite of popular. I don't even know. We'll move on. Just wanted to prove a point there that none of you have any fucking clue why you don't like AOC. It's just bumper sticker shit. All right. Great news though is we have the president of the United States, Donald Trump, who's clearly doing things that matter a great deal. This is an executive order. This man right here, his name is Chris Krebs. He worked for the Trump administration. He was in charge of the elections. The reason that Donald Trump hates him and now is writing an executive order about him is because he had the audacity to correctly point out that based on the data that we had and the data that we still have, the 2020 election at the time was the most safe and secure election in American history. We had very, very little amounts of voter fraud. And a man who worked for the Trump administration said that. And so years later, this little toddler with a tiny dick and really big feelings is signing an executive order and making a public announcement to go after an individual who simply did their job.
Former head of CISA. This is a man who weaponized his position against free speech in the election context, in the context of COVID-19.
Again, he weaponized his position against free speech by saying that based on the data that he had it was the most safe and secure election. I weaponized what? He shared his opinion. He shared his opinion based on his expertise, and this president now is writing an executive order to directly target him for his speech.
Speech in the election context, in the context of COVID-19. A presidential memorandum to the one you just signed. It assurances you might have, and further instructs your Department of Justice, other aspects of your government, to investigate some of the malign acts that he participated in while he was still head of CISA.
This is another one. I don't know that I met him. I'm sure I met him, but I didn't know him. And he came out right after the election. Which
He was in charge of the elections. You didn't know him? He worked for your administration? You didn't know him? How come he didn't know this guy? Boy, we got the YouTube chat fired up. You guys getting real fired up today. Just ask a MAGA a question and watch how quickly they just fall apart. Oh, I'm mad now. He's asking questions. He wants real answers.
It was a rigged election, a badly rigged election. We did phenomenally in that election. Look what happened to our country because of it. Open borders, millions of people coming into our country. Russia and Ukraine, that would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened.
Thanks, Burned Out Medic.
Afghanistan, the way that they withdrew with 13
I'm sorry.
dead.
Amy said, I figured out why the right asked what a woman is because they do not know what the age of consent is. They're just trying to figure it out.
So many killed, actually. I mean, so many killed outside of the 13 soldiers. Hundreds of people killed. And maybe, I don't know, never mentioned, but I mentioned it, 42 or 43 people so badly injured, the legs, the arms blown off, the face, and this is all because of a incompetent group of people that preceded us, and that would have never happened. And
so what did he do, though? Meg, can you help me? Can you tell me what Chris Krebs did? As far as I know, all he said was the election was secure. Can you tell me what he did? Why we're holding this press conference here? Why we're wasting time signing this executive order?
This guy Krebs was saying, "Oh, the election was great. It was great." Well, it's been proven that it was not only not great. When you look at all these lawyers at law firms that are signing, giving us hundreds of millions of dollars, it was proven by so many.
I don't know who needs to explain to Donald Trump, but proving that something was rigged would be like going to court and proving it. Somebody giving you free law advice is not evidence that the election was rigged. And most of these law firms now are backing off. Most of them now are just not giving this free service. It wasn't worth it for them. They're like, whatever, we'll do some pro bono work so they could. And here's what happened. Donald Trump went to all these law firms who had worked on cases against him or who had done work against him. And he said, I'm going to use the federal government and I'm going to abuse the federal government and make sure that you are never allowed to work for the federal government again because of your work against me, unless you give me free services. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll give you some free services. Some of them, some didn't. Everybody who told him no went to court and argued against his unlawful executive order, and they all won. They all won. He lost every one of those court cases. And now he's dragging this back out to tell you that what this really is proof that he won the 2020 election. If this is enough evidence for you to believe the 2020 election was stolen, you voted for the right person. You are a dipshit. You can't, you're incapable of your own thoughts.
Many different ways in so many different forms, from the legislatures not approving to the.
All right. I don't know why this keeps cutting out.
From all of the different scamming operations. It was a very corrupt election. They used COVID to cheat. And we're going to find out about this guy too, because this guy's a wise guy. He said,
oh, he's a wise guy. Okay, so I didn't know he's a wise guy. Never mind. I take it all back. This is totally worth it. What's the evidence here? We're going to find out what he did, because what he did is he said the election was secure. So far, that's what we have. And he's a wise guy.
Guy too, because this guy's a wise guy. He said, we've proved this is the most secure election in the history of our country. Now, this was a disaster.
He did say that. That's not a crime. An executive order doesn't open an investigation, or it's not supposed to, but in this administration where the Department of Justice is just Trump's personal law team, they'll probably investigate him.
And frankly, we should go to paper ballots, same-day voting, voter ID, and one other thing, you should get a little certificate that says you're a citizen of our country. You get a citizen piece of paper, it says you're a citizen before you can vote.
What? What is he talking about? Yeah, papers, please. Yeah, what is he talking about? That's not even in the SAVE Act. Now are we all going to have papers? We're going to have to walk around with papers? That's where we're at. Just put the fries in the bag, bro.
But you want voter ID and you want paper ballots, and you really want same-day voting. If you don't have same-day voting, they decide to change the air conditioner. Oh, we're fixing the air conditioner. Let's move all these boxes. We'll bring them back in a few days.
Yeah, that's a thing that has never happened and cannot happen. If we don't have paper ballots, hold on. If you don't have paper ballots and you have electronic voting machines, then what is he what are they moving here? Let's go back to this.
Decide to change the air conditioner. Oh, we're fixing the air conditioner. Let's move all these boxes.
Boxes of what? This sounds like an argument against paper ballots to me. What's he talking about here? Wouldn't moving those boxes be the paper ballots? Uh-oh. Is he accidentally making an argument that voting machines are more secure?
We'll bring them back in a few days, and then they don't bring back those boxes. We got to have...
So those would be the paper ballots, right?
Safe elections. We have to have borders. Ideally, we have to have a free press.
Talking about massive fraud. No, he's talking about a thing that has never happened and would be paper ballots. Why do you let such a dipshit get away with this? Why do you defend it when he's obviously not saying that? Why do you have to interpret everything he says? These boxes would be full of paper ballots. Why are you pretending that this isn't insane what he's saying right now?
Which we don't have. We don't have a free press. We have a very dishonest press. This is an honor. We're going to find out whether or not he was right. This was a disgraceful election, and this guy sat back saying, well, I'm a member, or like he's a Republican or something.
Yeah. He was part of your administration. You put him in that position. This is a guy you put there. She acts like he was well, if he wasn't, I don't know why you put him in that position, Don.
And almost right from the beginning. And he's tried to make the case that this election was a safe election. I think he said this is the safest election we've ever had.
Most secure.
And yet, every day you read in the papers about more and more fraud that's discovered.
I never what newspaper is talking about more and more fraud? Could somebody point me to a newspaper article? I don't know why Donald Trump's still reading the newspaper, but they are not in the newspaper. I think he's mixing up Truth Social with with newspapers.
He's the fraud. He's a disgrace. So we'll find out whether or not it was a safe election. And if it wasn't, he's got a big price to pay.
What is the crime?
He's a bad guy.
Can we talk about one other thing here? How fucking long is his Can we watch this? Donald Trump's it's TRUMP. It's 5 letters. Can we look at the signature for a second?
Whether or not it was a safe election.
Donald.
And if it wasn't, he's got a big price to pay.
What is all this? What are all these squigglies for? How many squiggles do you need?
He's got a big price to pay. And he's a bad guy.
And what's at the end there? That's not a P. What is this? Can we look at is this different signature than normal? We compare the two here. I mean, this isn't very close to his. See, I've never really looked at his signature in the first place. It is chaos. This is. Let's see if I'm a bigger one here. Like, put it side by side. Make it bigger, I guess. Go here. One, two. Yeah, there's a couple that. What is this? You change his last name? What's his last name now? Fucking Anderson? That is a long last name there. What is happening to old Sundowner in Chief here? We're going to watch that one more time. This is fucking insane.
So we'll find out whether or not it was a safe election.
Also, what are these squiggles under your D? That's not a D.
And if it wasn't, he's got a big price
One.
to pay. And he's a bad guy. There's another one. I have no idea who he is.
What is that? What? Donald J. Trump is real. Trumpenstein? What? Oh, that's I don't know about that. Trump. Johnny is reading the National Enquirer for his election information. Donald Netanyahu. Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't catch that the first time I watched it. That's absolutely crazy that he's pretending that's his signature.
And he's a bad guy. There's another one. I have no idea who he is. Krebs. I have no idea who he is. I'm sure he was in the room at some point, just like you're all in the room. But
no, the people in the room are reporters. He worked for you.
I have no idea who he was, so thank you very much. Those last two are very important, I think.
Very important. Yeah, so that's what our president is doing. Well, we complain about Congress not getting anything done. Cool. All right. This is a longer video. I want to show this as per usual. We're just going to steal half our content from More Perfect Union. And I apologize to the people at More Perfect Union, but it needs to be talked about more. They do incredible stuff. The 20-minute video. I listened to this the other day, and Graham Plattner is kind of the blueprint. And he's the blueprint for a lot of reasons. And I think he's the blueprint for the future, not only in the Democratic Party, but the Republican Party too. He owns his shit. He's somebody who legitimately had like Nazi. I don't know what the tattoo was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was Nazi adjacent, white nationalist adjacent. And when it came out, he didn't hide from it. He owned it. And as somebody who is a reformed, I would have called myself probably a Christian nationalist, although I didn't identify that way. And like most Christian nationalists, I had no idea what that means. But I would say that I had a lot of similar views. I didn't have tattoos because I was a good Mormon boy. But you can't, if you run, there's likely that people are going to be able to find some sort of dirt on you, especially in the internet age. With social media, somebody's going to have dirt on you. And the best thing that you can do is own it, explain how you've changed, and then consistently show that you've changed. Secondly, Graham Plattner is willing to take on everybody. He took on his own party. He's taking on his own party here, who put up millions of dollars against him for an establishment candidate who would just do whatever AIPAC says and do whatever Chuck Schumer says. And because of his authenticity, most people don't really care about who he was 15 or 20 years ago. I think that is an important precedent to set, and I recognize that there's people in this chat who, on my side of the aisle, who are going to be unforgiving for that, and that's fine, and that's your prerogative. And I think that's when you have horrific views and you change your views, you kind of have to have the understanding that some people will never forgive you for disgusting views. I tend to look at what he's doing now and say, yeah, I think that he's a different person now than he was then. And I like the stuff that he's campaigning on. I don't know. I won't tell you how you have to view this. If that's a deal breaker for you, that's a deal breaker for you. It's not for me. I think people can legitimately change. I think awful people can change. You had legitimately what was his Robert? Was it Byrd? Was it Robert Byrd, who was legitimately a grand master of the KKK and spent the rest of his life fighting against the KKK? If you're going to be, if you have a horrific past, you should spend some time trying to undo the damage that you've done. And you likely can't undo the damage that you've done. But I can applaud somebody who sees where they were, and then they work to make that change. But this was a really, really interesting video by More Perfect Union, showing what happens when you can get away from politics on TV, politics on YouTube like this, and you can get somebody to sit down across a candidate who answers questions honestly without partisan bullshit. And so we're going to watch this. Just a reminder, though, as we go, we are crowdfunded. I'll try and get your comments. If I'm not getting to your comments, super chats, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, that's the way to go. We do get to keep more of our donations when they come through Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, but any of those are the way to go. Throw those into the chat, and I'll stop the video to answer your questions. Site B said, anytime he says he has no idea who the person is, that means he knew them very well, or maybe he might just be dumb. Could be both. I don't think he knew who Chris Krebs was, honestly. I don't think he knows most of the people that work for him unless they're consistently on TV openly blowing him.
In the state of Maine, if you go around and you ask any regular working class American, do you think you live in a political and economic system that has your best interests at heart? Absolutely nobody says yes.
Lauren, I'm not an AI-generated person. Ask your dad. My dick was in his mouth last night. You can't do that with an AI-generated person. How dare you?
Yes. Nobody says yes. Everybody knows somebody is robbing them.
There's a conventional wisdom about politics, about the kinds of candidates who are considered electable. Graham Plattner is not one of those candidates.
An oyster farmer and combat veteran
challenging Republican Senator Susan Collins.
He's faced an onslaught of damaging revelations.
A previous tattoo that resembled a Nazi symbol.
But somehow, against all odds, Graham Plattner is still in the race for Senate. And not only that, according to the latest polling, he's on track to win.
Graham Plattner's campaign for Senate has included large crowds.
Governor Janet Mills ending her campaign for Senate. Mills has consistently trailed Plattner in the polls, despite getting an endorsement from Chuck Schumer.
This has been one of the biggest disconnects that I've seen after covering.
Getting an endorsement from Chuck Schumer to win your election is like getting kicked in the balls when your nuts hurt. It's like the worst possible thing that could happen to you.
Politics at NBC News for 10 years.
Is there a difference between the national media narrative on this in Maine?
It's a different reality.
He just kind of came out of nowhere.
I see you're holding a Graham sign, so you're a supporter?
Oh, yeah.
But to win the race for Senate, Graham Plattner will have to beat Susan Collins, who's backed by the full weight of the Republican establishment.
Collins has trounced every single challenger that has come her way.
And to Chuck Schumer endorsed me, I'd immediately drop out. Yeah. For sure. I'd be so mad if I was running and Chuck Schumer endorsed me. Motherfucker, that's a good trick by Chuck. And if Chuck had some chops, he would do that. If he had any idea how hated he was, he would just start endorsing all the people he doesn't want in office. Electric Dad said, "Is this the next Fetterman?" I hope not. Boy, I'm gonna look pretty fucking bad in 2 years if he just is Fetterman. I think that's a fair point. Keep your guard up with it. Maybe I should have added that with Graham Plattner. As much as I say, like I can forgive people or I can support people who appear to have made a change, it's just as important that you drop that support immediately when you're wrong. And if I'm wrong about Graham Plattner, I'll eat it. And I think that there's a certain level of criticism that will be deserved towards me for being duped. I think that's fair.
Voters.
I'm an independent.
I am a huge Trump fan.
So I spent 4 days with Graham Plattner, driving across Maine, talking to voters, to find...
Anti-Semitism will get you blocked in here, just so we're clear on that. So knock that shit off. Mods, be free with that.
Out how an oyster farmer with no political experience ends up the front runner in one of the most important races in the country.
I was asking if he has extensive history of his current views. This is going to go over his current views. It's really interesting. Again, I don't know if you're all going to love Graham Plattner after this, but I thought it was an interesting way of showing like what I believe the next version of American politics should be, and I think will be. I think it's just going to be authentic people saying enough is enough.
Conventional wisdom says he's unelectable. What would it mean if he won.
Who here, just show of hands, has their mind made up for the Senate race? Do you know who you're going to vote for? Or are we undecided at the table? So this is your hometown?
Yeah, it's my hometown. I live across the street, and I work out of the boat launch here. So that's my work float right there, and that white buoy is my mooring.
That's the office?
That's the office. Pretty idyllic. It's pretty idyllic.
Sorry, we'll probably cover this tomorrow, but Trump just announced that he's going to suspend the 18.4 cent per gallon federal gas tax. I think next week. So cool. We're going to take in less. He's fucked up so bad. Now we're going to bring in less tax revenue to try and lower gas prices before the midterms by 18 cents. Cool.
Graham Plattner grew up in Sullivan, Maine. Population, 1,200. Not that.
Chuck Schumer endorsing someone is like the love season of is like they love season 8 of Game of Thrones. Immediately red flag.
Long ago, he led a pretty quiet life.
I usually wake up 5:30, go out to the farm, and just spend the day handling shellfish. Making a living on the sea saved my life. I was not a happy person. After my military experience, being disillusioned and angry and PTSD, the whole 9 yards. And then I get to move back here and I get to sit on the ocean all day long. And over time, that just made me a really happy guy. I began to realize that the only reason I got to do this is because I get VA benefits. I get health care. The VA sends me money every month that I put towards my mortgage. This really basic foundational support is what allowed me to do this. And all of my neighbors who work just as hard, who are just as creative, they're screwed. Things have gotten worse in my lifetime. This kind of life, whether you're lobstering, doing carpentry and construction for summer homes, that used to be enough to raise a family. And as the years have gone by, everybody around here still works just as hard. In fact, in many ways, people work harder. And it isn't enough anymore.
There's less and less jobs, and there's even fewer good jobs.
That's a reality for Americans across the board, across the political spectrum. Lots of people are working hard, can't get by. That's just reality. That's why, any politician not saying that is owned. And the reason so many politicians don't say that is because the natural response to that is going to be corruption. And then the natural response to corruption is who has all the money? Because the corruption is going somewhere, right? So who has all the money? That's the billionaires, the corporations. How do they get that money? Well, a lot of tax breaks. How did they get so many tax breaks that we don't get? Oh, they pay politicians and they write the tax policy. Oh. That's why you don't hear a lot of people speak like Graham Plattner is speaking. That's why you don't hear a lot of people speak like AOC is speaking. They can't. They're owned.
Different mills are going out of business. Manufacturing's long gone.
It was one of the busiest paper mills in North America.
And basically, it's all gone.
Yeah. What's that do to a community?
It kills it.
Farming industry, fishing industry, forestry, those heritage industries, they've changed so dramatically that we can't experience rural living anymore.
The hospitals are on the verge of going bankrupt or doing away with services, and you have to travel further and further.
Price of housing has gone up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a park because we can't afford anything else.
So all this is happening, and I'm looking around at the community that I grew up in, that I love, that's essentially dying through no fault of anyone's here. I mean, it's all happening because of much larger forces.
Now, here's where you have to be able to message, and this is where Plattner is really good at this, is you could show this to anybody, not knowing this is about Graham Plattner, and everybody could assume this is a city in their state. Everybody here right now, there's multiple places in their state, rural areas, where hardworking people cannot afford to live. And in many of these places, the industry that once dominated those areas is gone and has been replaced either through outsourcing or over-commercialization or private equity. Everybody has this in their state. And the answer to all of this, what politicians love to do is go, it's the Republicans or it's the Democrats. And it's kind of true, but it's what they allow. It's not that they are taking money out of your community. It's not that they're making your community less secure because they're physically taking the money out. They're allowing rich people to loot all of these areas and consolidate wealth. And so, again, with Graham Plattner, what I loved about this video is it's not the typical politician of, you guys are struggling, Republicans cut taxes for the billionaires, therefore vote blue no matter who. It's not a winning message. It's not enough. You've got to give people something that gives them hope, some sort of plan that they can envision that makes sense to them. In this case, what do you need to do? In this case, how do you fix this? All these folks here who showed up to hear him speak, they just need to know that they can afford to go see a doctor, that they can afford to pay their electric bill, that they can afford to pay for housing, that they can afford to pay for food, and hopefully that someday they can retire. So pointing at red or blue here doesn't really fucking matter. Give them real solutions. Where Democrats who are progressive have an advantage is that they're talking about real solutions. Where establishment Democrats and Republicans have no ability to message to these people is that there is no plan. Telling these people that their taxes will be cut doesn't fix any of their problems. Telling them that we're going to drill, baby, drill doesn't fix their problems. Telling them that Israel is a great partner doesn't help them at all. Telling them that AI is going to fix everything doesn't help any of them.
In 1990, there were fewer than 100 billionaires in the United States. Today, there are over 800. When you look around, do you see a society and a community that is 8 times wealthier than the one we had in 1990? No. That money went somewhere, and we all know where it went.
On August 19th, Graham announced his run for Senate. The video took off, getting millions of views in days. And soon, Graham was doing town halls all across the state.
By September 5th.
Just this type of stuff, you can just show people. Where did that money go? Here's the top 1%, this green. You see their share gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Top 10%, share gets bigger. This is the middle class. About the same. Bottom 50%, about the same. You can show where this money is. In quarter 4 of 2025, the top 0.1% held 25.47. The top 1% held $55 trillion. The top 1% held more wealth than the entire middle class. This is an easy chart to show people. This green right here makes up 1% of the people. That's where the money went. You can't really argue that because these people are all here for a reason. They're not here because they're doing super well. Yeah, good point, Namasi. 573 people became billionaires during the first 2 years of COVID. It was one of the biggest transfers of wealth in history. That was, I'll get the website there for you.
First, I was on stage with Bernie giving my first real big speech to a crowd of 7,000 people.
We live in a system that has been built by the political class to enrich billionaires on the backs of working people.
That chart was from federalreserve.gov, and it was the release. It was distribution of household wealth since 1989. You can just Google that from the Federal Reserve.
People.
But by October, things took a turn. Janet Mills, the 78-year-old governor, entered the race, backed by the Democratic...
This is perfect. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. The top 1% pay over 40% of all taxable income, but they own more than 50% of the wealth. So by that very number you just gave me, they are underpaying. They own more than 50% of the wealth, and they only pay 40% of the taxes. So they're underpaying. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that.
Party establishment. And just a few days later, the stories started coming out.
We knew when we said yes, Amy and I knew that like it was going to be intense, but
my biggest problem with Graham Plattner, by the way, is the earrings. They're the biggest problems for me.
Man.
In recent weeks, he's faced an onslaught of damaging revelations.
Social media comments have surfaced lately, along with images of a tattoo
that resembled a Nazi symbol.
I mean, waking up, opening my phone, and like seeing a CNN story, which is like, this man is a secret Nazi. That sucks.
When Graham found out his tattoo resembled a design associated with the German SS, he got it covered up. But that didn't stop the story from taking off.
When you get to the point where you're denying on a podcast that you're a Nazi, I think it's over, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just over.
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism.
Writing as P. Hustle on Reddit, Graham posted more than 1,800 times. His comments don't paint a picture of a neo-Nazi, but some are hard to ignore.
Including one Reddit post where he seemed to make light of sexual assault.
For those of you who have read these things and seen someone that you don't recognize, I am deeply sorry. I see someone that I don't recognize either.
Again, draw your own conclusion there. If that's a bridge too far for you, that's fine. Whatever you want to say, he owned it. Pete Hex says, like, no, it's totally not a white nationalist tattoo. It's totally not Nazi stuff. There's a difference between how he handled it and how other people have handled it. Again, decide what that means to you. But he was honest about it. He did cover it up. You can decide whether you believe him or not.
Absolutely no problem talking about my life. And I'm fully okay with explaining that who I am today is not the person I've always been. I think most people fundamentally understand that because I think a lot of us have probably changed at some point over our lives.
But we're not complaining about successful people. This is like saying that your bank got robbed and you lost all your money, and then you're like, these fucking bank robbers stole my money, and everybody else just comes to you and they're like, why are you complaining about them? You're just jealous of them because they have the money. Yeah, dude. Yeah, they rigged a system and they're stealing money. We just think that the system should be fair. It's not a jealousy thing. It makes sense. Why would we give all these people all the money? Why would we allow them to rig a system where all the money goes to them? Just all you got to do is like take their dick out of your mouth for 2 seconds. I don't know what you think. You think they're going to kick you some money or something, bud?
After my 4th deployment, after I got out of the Army, I felt very isolated and alone in the real world. I went looking for some sense of like connection or community. So I, posted on Reddit. And as personally unpleasant as it is to explain dumb things I said on the internet 14 years ago, I almost feel lucky that I get to display very publicly evidence that, yeah, people can change. You can be an angry young dude with stupid opinions on the internet. But if you get involved in your community, if you build relationships, if you go to therapy, this is entirely possible.
Jen, can you pull Bud's messages? And for somebody who's accusing people of crying, could you maybe just give us a screenshot of all the crying Bud has done today?
You see the ads, you hear the little snippets, but to spend, we just spent an hour and a half with him, and it changes the perspective.
After the controversy, many were quick to declare the campaign dead in the water. But on the ground in Maine, it was a completely different story.
When's the last time we gave a billionaire money for nothing? Every fucking day. Elon Musk, we keep giving him government funding. We give all of these billionaires tax cuts for nothing. They're not giving us a service. That service exists whether we give them tax cuts or not. We're not paying them for services. I'm not paying the oil executives for services. Those services could exist without them being billionaires. Stop sucking their dick.
I see you're holding a Graham sign, so you're a supporter?
Oh, yeah. He's a breath of fresh air. I really want him to be elected.
In poll after poll, Graham was...
Leslie said, Jay, what's your opinion on Hassan Piker? Seems like a lot of establishment Dems don't like him. We've covered it enough. He said some things I don't agree with. I don't know. I think my politics probably align pretty closely with him. What I do know is that every time, it's just like we were talking with all these other people that folks on the right criticize. They don't seem to actually know what they're criticizing Hassan for. Every time every time somebody gives me an example and they say, he's he's anti-Semitic, and then they give me the quote, I read it and I'm like, I don't think that's anti-Semitic. That feels anti-Zionist to me. I admittedly don't watch a lot of Hassan. I think that the fact that he's getting attacked by mainstream Democrats and Republicans show that there's probably a lot of money behind the attacks on Hassan Piker. And that tells me that he's probably barking up the right tree.
Just beating Janet Mills among Democratic primary voters. It wasn't even close.
I have woken up a lot to what the old guard stands for, and I need something new.
I'm tired of these old folks. We need young people in here that are truly impacted by what's going to go on, what's going to happen to their children.
People want to hear about the future. People want to hear about your policies. And people also want access to you.
What do I think about Destiny? I think that Destiny, I don't watch a lot of him. He's a great debater. Destiny and I probably agree on a lot of things. My problems with Destiny take a lot more issue with Destiny with the things that he's done in his personal life that he doesn't take accountability for. He seems to be a sex predator and remarkably unapologetic about being that. He doesn't understand the power that he has. He's leveraged that power. He's threatened to release revenge porn on people. I am not a fan of Destiny at all. However, like I said, he's a good debater. I think that politically he and I probably align on a lot of things, but not a Destiny fan.
So they can figure out if you're full of shit or not.
He doesn't sound like he focus grouped everything that comes out of his mouth.
We have a lot of folks who are politicians who actually don't spend much time around regular Americans. I think that's because if they did, a lot of regular Americans would sniff out that they're charlatans.
We're so tired of just the same scripted lines, this fear that you can't do anything new because it might piss somebody off.
Everybody say, shuck the oligarchy.
No billionaires.
No billionaires.
By late April, the writing was on the wall. After months of trailing Graham in the polls, Janet Mills dropped out.
Do you think your rise says more about you as a candidate or the appetite in Maine to address those kind of things?
It's the appetite. Yeah, hands down. The things I talk about on the campaign trail are the things that I've just heard from all of my neighbors for years. Republican, Democrat, Independent, none of that matters. Our material needs are exactly the same, and they are deteriorating because the system has been built by people that are just trying to exploit us.
To win in the general, Graham will have to beat Susan Collins, who's defended her seat for more than 30 years and is currently sitting on tens of millions of dollars from the Republican establishment. And to beat
I don't think that matters that much. I think that things are bad enough for Americans that these massive attack ads for somebody like Susan Collins, especially with what Graham Plattner is going to be able to say about her, like the fact that she has $42 million and can run these attack ads and paint a picture of Graham Plattner, he's just going to be able to say yeah, typical Susan Collins. She said she was going to serve for 2 terms and then she'd be gone. She said she was going to Washington to get rid of term limits, and then she's been there for, I think, 175 years now. What's he saying? He's like, we got to get money out of politics. We can't have AIPAC influencing everybody. We can't have big oil and all these big industries having all of your representatives do the bidding for them while they forget about you. So what's she gonna say? I think this is one of those times where just money's not going to matter that much. Not in the midterms. There's just not a lot that you can do going after somebody like Plattner. You can go after him for his tattoo. You can go after him for his online comments. Both of those were more than a decade ago. I don't know that that's going to be enough for Mainers to be like, oh, well, maybe we should just go back to Susan Collins, who has done nothing but sell us out for 175 years.
Susan Collins, Graham will need to win over her voters.
I'm a registered Republican, but I feel like I'm a moderate Republican. I'm independent.
Yeah?
Yeah, same.
Both heard of Graham Plattner?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard about him. I still don't know a lot about him, so.
I haven't looked into it deep enough. That's why I'm here today. I hear a lot of hype around it, a lot of good
He
things.
does look like Andrew Callahan, the interviewer. You're right.
A couple questionable things, so.
Conventional wisdom would tell you that these voters would never go for someone like Graham Plattner, that his support for policies like Medicare for all and taxing the rich will be seen as too radical.
Is this going to be a situation where the Democrats are not in touch with what persuadable middle-of-the-road voters in Maine and elsewhere are going to be receptive to?
But his campaign is betting that the opposite is true.
I think it's a moderate position to want to break up corporate power in this country because every single normal working person I know thinks that's what has to happen. All of them.
So we decided to put that theory to the test.
We've been going around the state of Maine for the last 4 days, and people told us when we got up here that everybody knows each other in Maine.
We do.
Yeah.
Or we're related either way.
Baked beans. I haven't listened to Destiny's hearings. I've seen what Destiny said. Look, threatening people with revenge porn, sharing that type of information, I have a problem with that. He's in a position of power. Destiny should be held to a different standard. I think honestly, like, he can apologize. That's fine. I don't like what he did. I haven't watched his hearings. I think it was like the Lawrence Southern thing. I saw his response to a couple of accusations, and he was unapologetic for it, and I didn't like that about him. I also think that when you are in a position like Destiny, and if you're, you need to understand the power dynamics there and the parasocial relationship that you create with your audience, and that just by virtue of who you are and the relationship that you formed, the people on the other side of the screen feel more connected to you than you feel to them. So it might be it might be like new to Destiny. I have this like you all know me much better than I know you. And I think it's important to understand those dynamics. And I don't think Destiny did a good job with that. And I haven't really followed any of those accusations since then. So I guess I could be persuaded. But what I saw, I didn't like. I also think that it's fucking lazy for people. And I'm just gonna say, like, I think it's fucking lazy for people to drop the R slur. I think it's I think it's small-minded. I think it's a way to pander to people's, I guess, lack of respect. Again, it's just different. It's different than using it in a group of friends. Like, you're on the internet and you're doing these things. Like, you're supposed to be a champion of progressive ideas. I don't know. To me, it lacks integrity, and I don't like any of those folks, honestly. I don't, that whole group that runs around with Z, what are they called? I thought what they did a couple weeks when they went to like Arizona State, I thought that was fucking embarrassing. They went to Arizona State. They weren't allowed to go there, so they drove to Turning Point USA and like stood outside. I just think it's all so fucking performative. I don't really like Brian Shapiro that much. I don't like any of that group. I think it's really performative and kind of gross, and every time they get in the spotlight, they're just dismissing bad behavior. And frankly, maybe I'm a little too close to that. They were really close with Mr. Jones, and they were willing to hand over a bunch of money to Mr. Jones and let him be in charge. And anybody who's been around that guy for 10 minutes should have known that that was not somebody to be trusted. So, yeah, I don't like any of them. Unfuck America Tour.
Being an independent, I vote who I think the best candidate is. I voted for Susan Collins because of her experience and her, in the past, reaching across party lines. Okay. Things have changed. This is the first time I've been scared of my government.
Dan Osborne in New York is another like Plattner. Yeah, I mean, I think Plattner is a lot more progressive than Dan Osborne, but I see what you're saying. Like, kind of an outsider speaks how he wants to.
Okay. Let's talk about each of your politics, whoever wants to go first.
Okay, I've been a lifelong Republican. I did not vote for either time for Trump. You might call me left.
Could I be wrong? Sure. Send me what I might be wrong about. I'm open to that. I'm just my exposure to Destiny is limited.
Leaning Republican, but
that's an interesting one to unpack.
Whatever. I voted for Susan Collins last time, but I will not vote for her again this time because I think she's too old, and I think that she takes the political way out, which I call cowardly sometimes.
I guess I'm I'm quite a bit different. So my faith in God trumps everything. And I'm just not into all the woke stuff. I'm just not. You know, I'm traditional. So I am a huge Trump fan. I'm sorry.
How do you feel about Collins?
Collins, I don't know. I feel that I have to vote for Susan Collins because I'm obligated. But part of me wants to,
you're curious,
rock the apple cart a little bit. And how old is she? 70?
74, 75.
74, 70. Yeah, I mean, it's like I thought she was going to. Didn't she say two terms? There we go.
She did.
So what happened? I mean, and then when you go that long, you just kind of lose touch, right? I've never seen her at an event or anything else. I know she's busy. She's got a lot of things going on, but you gotta reach out to the people. Here you're right across the table there. That's pretty impressive. So, so that's where I come from.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a Republican who's done this recently. It'd be hard to do. Problem you have if you're a Republican right now is your audience is Trump. Your audience isn't your voter. And in some ways, the voter is like an extension of Trump because that's all they care about too. It's just Trump. See how these go when Republicans go out to town halls. It's going poorly for them. It'd be really, really hard for somebody not named Thomas Massey to go out and do this that's a Republican.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think before we get into the discussion, like we got...
Can I describe my politics?
Oh, yeah, Graham. Sorry.
All right, if you haven't listened to any of this, just here, because here's where Graham Plattner does a phenomenal job of explaining and speaking to working class people, not from a partisan lens. This is brilliant. This is what every Democrat running should run on, and this is how they should message it.
We skipped you.
I will keep it quick, but I'm running as a Democrat, but I have a lot of criticism of
Yeah, Stacey, all the woke stuff like basic human rights. Yeah, they don't like that.
Democratic Party. The Democratic Party that I have respect for was the party of FDR, a party that actually represented the interest of working people and wasn't a party that was beholden to corporate power, which at this point, our higher politics is just that.
I think really everybody talked about billionaires, right? Billionaires, this, and that. And it just seems like every time there's an effort to get after the billionaires, to get them to pay a fair share, whatever. Sounds great, always sounds great. But every time you take that swing, it misses and slams the middle class.
Yeah.
Yes. Instead of like hiring 60,000 IRS agents that are going to go through all the small self-employed guys and, hey, where's your gas receipt? Hassling us with that. There's got to be some way to bolster middle class businesses, small businesses.
We are in 100% agreement. I have a small oyster farm,
right,
and I run a small business and deal with all of the pain in the ass of dealing with that. For smaller operations, it's difficult to be compliant. It's hard to hit all the requirements because many of them are made specifically to incentivize the larger operations. They can hit it, but if you're a small farm, you don't have an extra $100,000 to go build some, state-of-the-art facility. What it really does is it puts small operators out of business, and only the big ones can maintain it. And suddenly we have more Walmarts, more Home Depots, less hardware stores.
Yep.
It all gets eaten up by these corporate entities, and I'm fully convinced it's not
so good. Some of you, I'm so sorry for those who have watched me for a long time, but that's the reality for so many of us. That's the reality of my childhood. I grew up in a suburb of Salt Lake City that was a smaller suburb, and every shop, every store, we knew the owners. It wasn't, we weren't rural, there were a lot of people in my county. It's heavily populated now, but we knew who owned the grocery store. It was called Allen's. The guy's name was Allen. We knew him. My neighbor 2 doors down, who had 5 kids, was the butcher. He owned his own house. His wife didn't work. He had 5 kids. They went on family vacations with us. They had money. They were fine. The guy who did our auto body shop, Tomlinson Auto Body, we just knew them. There was a a produce stand. It was a guy's full-time job. He had a produce stand. It was called Verds. You could go into Verds and you could get fresh produce that was grown locally. There was another grocery store got bought by Smith's. I can't remember what it was called before that. Everything was locally owned. All the restaurants were locally owned. And then slowly but surely, in came Subway, in came McDonald's, In came Walmart. In came Jiffy Lube. And all of these chains just eliminated these family-owned businesses, and the chains come in, they undersell the family-owned businesses because the family-owned businesses need to pay a living wage. And these chains don't need to, because they're not beholden to the community that they put their stores in. Their community, or they're beholden to their investors and their franchisees. And so we sell out our economies to these big corporations, and we sell them out for, you know, a one-time, like, oh, they're going to have more jobs. You know, Walmart's going to create 300 jobs, and the grocery store employs 100 people, so this is going to be better because 200 more people are going to have jobs. Well, we were fine. It's not like we had a bunch of unemployed people. And now suddenly my neighbor, who's the butcher, he can't go be a butcher at Walmart and make a secure living. I think he wound up going back to school. I'm not even sure what he did. They sold their house. I have no idea where they are now. But all this stuff has destroyed these communities. This is a very simple thing for anybody who grew up in a community that changed to understand. And if Democrats don't run on this, they're not going to, they're not only, it's not even about winning. Like, they're probably going to win the midterms, but they'll lose it right fucking back if they don't do something different. And they not only do they have to do something different, but they have to continue to do different things. Talking to my friends about Zoran Mamdani, they're comparing Zoran Mamdani to Spencer Pratt. And they're like, I like both of those guys because they're just angry and they want to destroy the establishment. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so you think that's what Zoran is? Zoran is somebody who had real ideas for people in his community, and he's implementing those ideas. Spencer Pratt's running on like, I'm going to put up signs that say, no, you can't take your dick out. So you have to, not only do you have to be Graham Plattner and come out and say, like, I'm giving you a real different view and a real different platform than you're used to, but then you have to go and you have to make those changes. And that's the only way we get through the shit that we've been through most of our life, where it's like Republicans win, Democrats win, Republicans win, Democrats win, Republicans win, Democrats win. It doesn't really matter who wins, but you have to force people to start talking to the voters. You have to force them to be accountable to the voters. And if you see a big progressive win in the midterms, then Republicans have to start talking to those voters too. If Donald Trump can't carry the midterms, then Republicans are faced with the reality that, we lost the American people. And when they go back and they start talking to people at home, and they start talking about healthcare, and they start talking about affordability, telling them that we're going to keep doing the same shit, which is just give billionaires a bunch of tax credits, that's not going to work. Especially when people can see the results of taxing the rich fairly and creating a baseline and a living wage in these communities that makes sense. Then Republicans are fucked. So either way, like, if Republicans are able to get, like, if progressives make significant changes and Republicans win back the House and the Senate at some point, it won't be on the policies they have now. However, if Democrats win in the midterms and then they just let Chuck Schumer do his thing, then they're just going to lose again. And we're just going to repeat the same goddamn cycle. This is a real opportunity for America to make real change. Donald Trump doesn't change shit. Donald Trump talks like he's going to change shit. But everybody's waking up to the fact that, holy shit, he ran on all this change, and then he's just Dick Cheney with half the IQ. So you got to make these changes, and you have to have a progressive win, and then the progressives like Plattner need to do kind of what Trump did and say, we've got a mandate. And they're going to have to fight Democrats. They're going to have to tell Democrats, we're not voting with you. We're not going to just step in and fall in line. We're going to force you to go left. And that will force MAGA to go left in ways that maybe historically you wouldn't think, but maybe MAGA starts saying, like, okay, well, we like private markets. So maybe their response to progressives looking for universal healthcare, single-payer healthcare, maybe their response is, we have to break up these monopolies, or we have to take these monopolies and we have to have really, really strict rules on their revenue. And we have to do price controls in health insurance. Either way, you can force Republicans to have better policies by having really good policies from progressives. And then you get back to an America where maybe we start talking about, like, which ideas win versus which party wins.
An accident. It's not a coincidence. This happens very much because establishment politicians.
Sorry, Melanie said, Carmel, California has made it a city policy not to allow in big corporations. The city is run completely on small businesses. That's beautiful. Shout out Carmel, California. Where is Carmel? Is that Southern? Can't remember. That's got to be like Northern California, right? Can't be Southern.
Right policies that are good for the people that lobby them and donate the most money to them.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Let me take a temperature check right there. Just going around the table, the Goldilocks question: do billionaires have too much power, not enough power, or just the right amount of power? What do we think?
They have too much power. I mean, I fully agree with all of this. And as a traditional Republican, the one thing that traditional Republicans believe strongly in is less government regulation over our business and individual lives. Absolutely.
I think the billionaires are running the country right now. So I don't think it's Trump.
Yeah.
I think it's being run by the billionaires.
Okay, interesting. Too much, not enough, just right, billionaire power.
No, I do. I think they, you see it everywhere. They got money talks, right?
So we're in agreement on that, but your question is kind of like, Graham, you talk about reining in that power, but how do you make sure that you don't take a swing at the billionaires and hit a guy who's worried about?
I think, and I'll just be upfront, I think that the reason that it's hit the middle class every time they try is that they're not actually trying. Because if they did, it would bother the people that donate the most money to them. And in this political system, that's all any of these folks seem to care about. I will say on the IRS thing, so my old roommate, when I was going to college, he's an IRS special agent. And for years, he would always tell me, he's like, you know, it's very funny. When our budget gets cut, our bosses come down and say, it is time to go after small and medium-sized businesses because we don't have the manpower or the resources to go tangle with a billionaire's legal team. It's much easier just to go down and go after just a small bit. Yeah. And he's like,
ducks.
That's right. Well, no, I mean, like, I'll be entire. I mean, I get audited, like that's gonna like really mess my, I mean, we'll pass, but it's gonna mess my life up.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna have to go through and find all the receipts that you put in a box 4 years ago, like all of that. It's a frig. and what's amazing to me is we're doing that. Meanwhile, the total amount of uncollected taxes from corporations in this country is in the hundreds of billions of dollars.
I think our traditional...
I think it's $900 billion annually. The problem is not just that billionaires need to pay their fair share. It's that we're not able to collect taxes. It's that we've gutted the IRS, which is such a weird thing to do. Like, in what scenario is the smartest thing to do cut your revenue stream? The government can't pay its bills without revenue. So why would we cut the people responsible for making sure that we bring in revenue? For my Republican friends here who got very upset when Joe Biden wanted to replace retiring IRS workers over 10 years, why would we do that? The real answer is because they've told you that taxation is theft, IRS bad. They've made you ideologically opposed to taxes. So even the taxes that we do have, you celebrate when billionaires don't pay their taxes. You celebrate when corporations dodge taxes because you have an ideological opposition to taxes, which is a silly thing to do because you can't. You can't just avoid paying your taxes. You're fucked. You know why you're fucked? Because it's really easy for them to tell when you don't pay your taxes. Why are the wealthiest among us able to dodge taxes? Because it's really fucking hard. Because it's convoluted and they write the tax law. And they create these shelters, these tax shelters, so they don't have to pay taxes. And it's really, really hard to audit them. It takes teams of people to audit them, and we're understaffed. And so what did the Trump administration do? They came in and they cut the IRS. What Graham is saying here is absolutely true. If they wanted to do something about the middle class, if the Trump administration was about helping the middle class, they would help the fucking middle class. If the Biden administration was all about helping the middle class, they would have helped the middle class. It was marginal. None of these people are for the middle class. Otherwise, they would be for the middle class, but they're not. They're all for the 1%. And it is embarrassing every day to see So many people come in here and be like, we have to worship the billionaires. It's very important. Which reminds me, if there's any billionaires here, you could knock out our gift goal. We're just poor internet streamers here, but that is how we make our living. Somebody asked what my full-time job is. This is my full-time job. We do have a gift goal that we need to meet every single day in order to keep the lights on. If we did a dollar train, we could knock that out. We've got about an hour and 7 minutes left on the live today. So if you guys could help us knock out that gift goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal are preferred. We also take super chats, and I'll read damn near anything that you write. Midwest T says liberal scum, grifting douchebag. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll even read the mean ones.
American free enterprise system is broken. It is no longer free enterprise. It's some kind of state oligarchic something.
Speak on fraud, idiot. I just did $900 billion a year in fraud committed by the wealthiest among us and the corporations in this country who commit tax fraud every motherfucking year. And you want to talk about Minnesota? It doesn't, like, what would help more? 9 billion or 900 billion? The answer is 900 billion. But you're not going to go after the people that are not paying the 900 billion because you're too busy being terrified of immigrants. That's why. And even then, it's not immigrants that are stealing that money. It's American citizens who are stealing that money. The ringleader was a white lady. And you want to play politics. You don't want to talk about fraud. You don't give a fuck about fraud. You're all full of shit when it comes to fraud. You only want to talk about fraud if it's done, in your eyes, by a Democrat. But until any of you dumb motherfuckers start talking about the IRS not collecting taxes owed, then none of us give a single fuck, and we shouldn't give you any attention, honestly. If you care about 9 billion but not 900 billion, then you don't fucking care, and your opinion shouldn't be validated by anybody. You're just a partisan bootlicker. You're a liar. YOU''RE. I'm also not going to take insults from people who can't fucking spell.
Whatever.
I agree with what Graham is saying. It's just, how do you get there?
Yeah.
You know, you're one person.
Right. And
we know what happens in Congress when somebody goes against, you know, their party, like Republicans, they go against Trump, you know, and then they're blackballed. But the Democrats seem to back down. And that really pisses me off. I just want somebody who is going to represent.
This is a weird argument. I agree. Democrats are pussies. I agree with what she's saying. They do need to fight. But who are they backing down to? Republicans, who never back down. The Republicans double, triple, quadruple down on getting all the money into like 8 people's hands because their voting base is too dumb to realize it. So I agree with her. Democrats got to do something. And that's where they have to like delineate. They need to have some degree of separation if they want to be taken seriously. Because like, what do you want to be? You want to be the ones that are doing all the corruption? Or do you want to be the ones who like quietly and timidly are like, that's bad, but that's okay. We'll back down. You have to have actual people who are going to fight on the other side, like what Plattner is saying here. Thank you. Radosk said YouTube dono. Nasri said I got 5 on it. Betsy said dollar train adjusted for inflation and gas prices. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Sean, thank you for joining the dollar train. Vanessa said paying my cuck fees, also known as sister wives dues. Thank you.
Me as a constituent, and I want them to be stern about it.
Do you feel like there's something that they would be stern about, the Democrats? Like, what comes to mind there?
If I have a choice and I look at like 2 candidates, I just have to go with what I feel is the best to represent myself and my family.
One last question, and anybody can have an answer, and there's a lot of time to go between now and then. But if we were living in the future and the election were today, which way are you going between, let's say, Graham, Collins, and if it's not for Graham, what does somebody like that have to do to earn support after things that you've heard?
With me, it's 100%. I vote my Bible, obedience to God, number 1. And honestly, with like a lot of issues,
which is a crazy thing to vote on because you can just be obedient in your everyday life. None of the laws that God has given in your Bible are you prevented from living by voting for somebody who doesn't share your values. That's a weird thing. between you and God. Whatever your beliefs are, you get to live. The government. Are you saying for you, or is it about forcing others to live your values? Sorry, I'm taking away from a good moment here. I shouldn't have stopped it there.
Bible, obedience to God, number one. And honestly, with like a lot of issues, Susan Collins and you were right in line with a lot of those. And that's the problem for me.
I want somebody who listens to their constituents and votes what the people of Maine want, not
Amanda says, fuck the Zionists, fuck Trump. Love the show. Thank you.
just what your Democratic Party tell you to vote.
Yep. You got to come home and
You
listen.
just got to listen to
Thanks,
what
Sherry.
we're saying. It's really important.
Well, I'm going to disenroll as a Republican so I can vote for you in the primary.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll spread the word.
Please do.
I'm pretty influential in my town.
He's kind of a big deal.
So, will Graham Plattner be the next senator from Maine? Only time will tell. But no matter what happens, it's clear his campaign has struck a nerve.
You a hopeful guy?
Yeah, deeply. Because I've been living in a small community for a very long time, and I've realized the vast majority of people in this country are fundamentally good people. Even folks I wildly disagreed with, they're still good folks.
Jen, watch over for a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick while this plays.
Most of them still really do show up for their neighbors and for their family. Many people in our communities that we do not agree with, when you really boil it down, they're out there struggling in the same broken system that we are.
Overall, I was impressed with him as a person. A lot of things he said really resounded with me, growing up in Maine and going through some tough times.
Big money's running this country right now, and we need people going there that are going to do what's right for the people of Maine.
We are so tired of the establishment, and Maine is a very anti-establishment state. We want people who are fearless, who have bold ideas, and I'm really excited about Graham Plattner. I wasn't sure coming into this.
But even if he wins, Graham Plattner is still just one guy, chasing one Senate seat.
A Senate seat isn't gonna be enough to get us Medicare for all.
Which is why his campaign is also building something much more ambitious.
Politics is about power. And in this society, power is either organized money or it's organized people. And the money is organized, it always has been, and it always will be until we organize enough people to pull it back. I think people are beginning to realize if we are going to build the future that's good for everybody in this society, the only way for us to build power is to find it in each other. There's no other way out of this thing.
Well, Graham, do you think there's any oysters in the Potomac River?
I hope not, because they're saltwater creatures. So if there are oysters up the Potomac, you guys should start getting pretty worried.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, right on time, right?
Yeah,
Hey, did you like that?
Weird ending. Appreciate that. Anyways, I hope you guys like that. I absolutely love that. Anytime you can find any politician acting authentically, it catches my eye. And I just, maybe not authentic. If he's faking it, goddamn, he's a great actor. But hopefully he's not. I would really like years from now to be like, hey, we were right about Graham Plattner. Jessica said, I wish this could be more. You guys are amazing. Thank you. That was Tiger Lady, excuse me. McConnell was able to do so much damage, no matter if he was in the majority. Dems need a bulldog instead. Yeah, he's more of a pug. Thanks, William. Appreciate it. Rocket Time says, trying to do my part. Here's $2. Love the show. Appreciate you guys. Let me double check. Make sure I didn't miss anything from Jen there. All right, moving on. Men don't need other men. Men stand on their own. All right. What are you doing? What are you doing, Ronald? Got an alpha male here. Simps need another man to solve their problems. My friend, if you don't, like, our government is a representative republic. You can't change policy without supporting somebody who can change policy or running on your own. These are very strange things that you're saying right now. Do you not know what we're talking about here? I can change legislation just by doing push-ups every single morning and pull myself up by the bootstraps. And I talk lower like this because it makes me feel more like a man. Sherry said, say my name again, please. Sherry, thank you. Abolish government. All right, Ronald. Yeah, you're doing great, bud. Abolish government. Let's talk about yeah, I want to cover that. We might get to it. We got an hour. Okay. I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't think I would ever do this. What I'm about to do, and I need to apologize for this. I was scrolling through today. I watched this video last week, and I was scrolling through today because I didn't have time to fact check it, and so we're going to do some real time fact checking here. So, admittedly, the video I'm about to play may or may not be entirely accurate, but I saw the Midas Touch reporting on a conspiracy theory I've seen floating around that the downed airmen in Iran were actually a cover-up for a failed CIA investigation. And I saw Jimmy Dore covering this, which normally I wouldn't give Jimmy Dore any time, but he had on with him somebody with at least some experience, and somebody that we've used before in Colonel Douglas MacArthur.
It has now become clear that this
we're gonna watch a Jimmy Dore clip, which is, I got to tell you, I don't know if anything makes me feel more weird than playing Jimmy Dore. I can't stand Jimmy Dore, and just like it's on a personal level. When I first was moving away from my conservative ideals, I had a friend named Steven. I don't know if Steven watches this show anymore or not, but Steven would consistently say, in defending Donald Trump, he would consistently point to Jimmy Dore and to Tim Pool as liberals who supported Donald Trump or agreed. And I think it was specifically on like Russiagate. Jimmy Dore has never met a conspiracy theory he didn't believe in. But as his viewership dwindled on the left, he did what most people do on the left when their viewership dwindles. He took some corporate money, he sold out, and he became somebody who just like loosely defended Trump by saying that every time somebody investigated Donald Trump, it was the deep state trying to take out a reformer. And it got kind of embarrassing for a while, to the point where Jimmy Dore, predictably, when COVID showed up, just like 2 seconds into COVID, he's like, yep, this is a planned pandemic. Everything that happens will be a government cover-up, and it'll be a deep state attempt to control your lives. So yeah, shift and grift. That's a great way to put it, El France. I appreciate that. He's one of the OGs of shift and grift. Him and Tim Pool. But we're gonna watch this, and we're gonna try and fact check it in real time.
Had no connection to the claimed rescue of a downed...
Oh, sorry, one other thing. Last 55 minutes left. If you want to help us knock out that gift goal, I'll update it in a second. That would be greatly appreciated. I hate doing that. I hate reminding, and I wish that it wasn't the case, but that's the only way we can keep the lights on here and keep this show going. So anything you can do to help us knock that out through Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, or Super Chats would be greatly appreciated. And then Wednesday this week, we have our next members-only event. We're going to watch 3 more episodes of the company retreat in the Discord. If you'd like to join us for that, make sure you're a paid member on YouTube or Twitch. Those memberships start at $5. And even if you don't want to join us for the movies, it's a great way to help show your support for us with a one-time monthly donation. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can go over to Twitch and you can use your Amazon Prime membership to get a free membership through Twitch, which means that you don't see commercials, and you get access to all the emojis. YouTube members and Twitch members, if you want to drop the emojis there in the chat to show people, you can get that for free just by having Amazon Prime, which most of us have.
F-15 fighter pilot, a narrative initially pushed by American officials. Instead, evidence examined and confirmed by Press TV indicates that the real objective was to infiltrate and attack one of Iran's nuclear facilities in Isfahan. The Americans miscalculated, believing that Iran's air defense would be unable to confront the aircraft involved in the operation. However, Press TV learned that the deployment of numerous U.S. aircraft occurred while the Iranian armed forces were in full alert waiting for them.
So let's give a W to Casey, our moderator in the chat. As someone dared, who was it? Someone dared Casey to shut them up. Ronald said, "Shut me up," and Casey obliged. Later, Ronald.
We have special guest Douglas McGregor. He's a popular political commentator, retired U.S. Army colonel who served as a senior advisor to acting Secretary of Defense under President Trump, has served on the board of U.S. Military Academy. Currently, he's the CEO of Our Country, Our Choice, a media company that aims to unite like-minded Americans, and he recently launched his own Substack at McGregorWarrior.substack.com. Welcome.
Thank you, Walter and Denise. Now we can also say here, Douglas MacArthur. Let's get this out of the way. This is somebody who's been part of the military-industrial complex. He's obviously making money for his opinions now. He's not doing this shit for free either. And just like me, you should be skeptical of what I'm saying and make sure that my opinions are not being swayed by political donations. So let's keep that in mind here.
Welcome back to the show, Douglas McGregor.
Hey, thanks very much, Jimmy. It's been a long time since I saw you.
Yeah.
We were in Washington last time, weren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think that is correct. I really appreciate you taking time out and for our little show. And I've got
a little show. You have a big show, you know. I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
At least this way people will find out I don't wear a white suit and carry a bucket of chicken under my
arm. Okay.
Not a bad joke from Douglas MacArthur. This is incredibly painful for me to watch Jimmy Dore. I'm doing this for you.
Just real quickly, I wanted to go back over the rescue of the downed pilot in Iran, and right before that happened, the U.S. Army chief resigned, and he said a madman is about to lead the great U.S. military to ruin. Now, my guess is that he knew about the plan. Well, why do you think he resigned?
Boy, I'm so happy that some of you don't know who Jimmy Dore is. Jimmy Dore was like a very progressive lefty and then took a hard shift in a bunch of advertisers. So congratulations if you don't know who Jimmy Dore is.
First of all, he did not resign.
Sounds like evil Graham Plattner.
Okay.
Big difference. We haven't had anybody, at least in my lifetime. I can go all the way back to the Vietnam period. I can't find a single solid example of a general officer or an admiral who resigned.
So he did not resign. So he got. Why do you think he got fired?
Well, I think there are probably a number of things. You've got a lot of leftovers from the Clinton, Biden, Bush era that were very comfortable with all of the DEI programs and policies. That's probably part of it. Somebody said, well, he had been in charge of the transformation account or whatever when he was down in Austin, Texas at the transformation headquarters. That's been a complete catastrophe. We've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars, changed absolutely nothing of significance in the Army. Now, I'm just pointing those things out because those are...
Jen, I thought he was a comedian, but must be mixing him up with someone else. No, incorrect. He was a comedian. I think he still considers himself a comedian. His show is kind of like a comedy political show, but he used to be very progressive.
Good reasons to send the man packing. But was he opposed to what the president is trying to do? We have no way of knowing. And I think when he made that comment, he was out of uniform and retired. I mean, he has every right to speak once he's out of uniform, but I don't know of any example of any open opposition while he was on active duty.
So now I had predicted that...
That's important. Think of any other time in our history where you've had an active 4-star general say, I'm out. The president is about to lead us into essentially an unwinnable war. The amount of stuff you have to chalk up to Trump derangement syndrome, the amount of people in the government who consistently are whistleblowing against him, you have to just believe every single human being on earth is that's not MAGA has Trump derangement syndrome, and simultaneously you have to believe that everything Trump does is perfect.
Based on several different pieces of information that Trump was going to try a ground invasion starting last Friday, Good Friday. And I'm pretty sure he kind of tried to do that because
thanks, Nighthawk.
The story was that, they downed our pilot. And so we launched this unbelievably big rescue mission with C-130s and Apache helicopters and dozens of soldiers. That was the report.
There it is from Current Report there. George said, $5 to tell MAGA to eat shit, another $5 to tell Robert to go fuck himself with a rusty railroad spike. Love the show. Thank you. Here's the report here. New York Times reports hundreds of special forces, troops, and dozens of U.S. warplanes and helicopters were deployed to locate the downed F-15. U.S. aircraft struck Iranian convoys to help keep them away from the area where the pilot was hiding. 2 U.S. C-130 planes meant to extract. The airmen got stuck in sand in Iran and were destroyed by U.S. forces to avoid capture. Iran's IRGC, however, claims they were shot down by Iranian fire. And you remember they went on and on and on about the bravery here. And also somehow we're saying Iran has no ability to shoot down our planes while they shot down our planes. And in the press conference where they're like, we're going to go get this downed airman, but Iran can't shoot down our planes, but they were shooting down our planes. It was all really fucking weird. And now what MacArthur and Jimmy Dore are saying here is it seems like there was a CIA operation that failed and they just don't want to admit it.
But what, according to Iran...
Jackie's been following us. I know that. Yeah, where's the pilot? Anybody remember the pilot's name? Just drop that in the chat. Pilot's name there, this hero that we saved. We know when we rescue soldiers, we usually learn their name. Where is that pilot?
That was a failed operation to attack the Isfahan nuclear site. According to Press TV, well, let me show you this quick little video. This is what they said happened, and I'm going to get your reaction.
Oh, you're right. I keep saying Douglas MacArthur. Douglas McGregor. Thank you. Thank you. Different people.
Extensive evidence that has come to light about the recent operation by the American Zionist enemy in Isfahan has exposed a crushing strategic defeat for the United States. U.S. President Donald Trump's frantic threats in the past few days to target Iran's civilian infrastructure, including power plants and bridges, are a direct consequence of the heavy defeat suffered by the U.S. forces in the Isfahan operation. The failed raid was carried out after the enemy conducted extensive aerial reconnaissance operations in the days leading up to the attack, according to the exclusive information. During those initial infiltration and reconnaissance missions, the U.S. and possibly the Zionist regime lost a significant number of aircraft, including at least one A-10 Thunderbolt II and 2 Black Hawk helicopters. The information obtained by Press TV reveals that 0 hour for the failed Isfahan operation was set during a secret meeting at the White House under the direct supervision of the U.S. president himself. It has now become clear that this operation...
We have to wait till the movie. Yeah, we'll wait for the movie for the CIA to rewrite history of what actually happened here.
Had no connection to the claimed rescue of a downed F-15 fighter pilot, a narrative initially pushed by American officials. Instead, evidence examined and confirmed...
The pilot's name was John Barron.
By Press TV indicates that the real objective was to infiltrate and attack one of Iran's nuclear facilities in Isfahan. The landing site for C-130 transport aircraft, chosen based on previous reconnaissance, was an abandoned airstrip located dangerously close to one of these nuclear sites. The Americans miscalculated, believing that Iran's air defense would be unable to confront the aircraft involved in the operation. However, Press TV learned that the deployment of numerous U.S. aircraft occurred while the Iranian armed forces were in full alert waiting for them. In fact, American special forces fell directly into a trap set by Iranian forces. The Iranian armed forces, including the army, law enforcement, Faraja, the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, IRGC, and local popular forces, initially did not show a serious reaction to the landing of the first C-1...
It's such a good point, actually. You know, if this were a real rescue, these pilots would have been paraded into the Oval Office for press by now. Yeah, and there would have been some circle jerk for Trump, how they never could have been found if it wasn't for Donald Trump's courage and saying, go get them, boys, or whatever the fuck they give him credit for.
Which was carrying dozens of Special Forces commandos. Evidence shows this aircraft veered somewhat off the runway while landing at the abandoned dirt airstrip. Minutes later, a second C-130 aircraft approached, carrying specialized vehicles, several MH-6 Little Bird helicopters.
Yeah, good point, Nasser. It sounds like the movie Behind Enemy Lines, with Gene Hackman and Owen Wilson, one of my favorites. My mom threw that video away when I was a kid. It was one of my movies. I was a teenager, and it was one of my favorite movies. And Gene Hackman says fuck in that movie exactly one time. And so my mom threw it away and I wasn't allowed to watch it anymore because it said fuck. Mom, if you could hear me now. She can. She just chooses not to listen to this because I say fuck too much.
And other support equipment. At that moment, Iranian forces on the scene targeted the second aircraft before it could land, turning its normal landing into an emergency one. 2 Black Hawk helicopters also arrived shortly after. It was at this moment that the aircraft, helicopters, and commandos who had disembarked from the first plane became perfect targets for the Iranian armed forces. After the special forces realized they had fallen into the trap, the White House Situation Room made a critical decision. The main operation to infiltrate the nuclear site was changed into a desperate rescue operation for the dozens of U.S. commandos trapped under Iranian fire. The Americans immediately sent several smaller aircraft to extract their forces, barely managing to gather the individuals and withdraw them from the deadly situation. The rescue operation was conducted so hastily that some soldiers and officers abandoned their equipment, including, according to the evidence possessed by Press TV, the identification document of an American officer left behind in the area to save their lives. After the commandos were evacuated, American fighter jets established a line of fire with a 5-kilometer radius to prevent Iranian forces from approaching the abandoned C-130s at the airstrip. The jets also carried out heavy bombing of their own equipment to prevent it from falling into Iranian hands.
Now, this isn't actual footage for our MAGA friends here. They've recreated this using computers. So this isn't the actual footage here. So I don't want you guys to be confused there. This is recreated, probably AI generated.
In this failed operation, U.S. Special Forces did not even have the chance to fly the special Little Bird helicopters. Some were destroyed on the ground, while others were destroyed inside the second C-130 aircraft. Following this disgraceful and heavy defeat, Trump hastily and chaotically held multiple press conferences to cover up the failure and falsely portray it as a pilot rescue operation. The information obtained by Press TV notes that the heavy aftershocks of this...
Again, if we just want to go back to those press conferences, while we were watching them, we were like, what's going on here? It was weird while it was happening because if you remember, Pete Hegseth was furious too. It's like, they can't shoot down our planes. And the press is like, but they shot down your planes. He's like, well, you fucking hate our troops? You hate our fucking troops? You're going to talk shit about our troops? Well, the planes got shot down. And you keep saying that they can't shoot our planes down. So at the time, it was fishy. We just didn't really know why. I thought it was fishy because Pete Hegseth was just like, he never wanted to admit that, like, sometimes we suck. Like sometimes like our plans fail. But it looks like it might be more than that.
Great debacle for Trump will affect not only the fate of the ongoing war against the Islamic Republic of Iran, but also the political...
No, I can just buy behind enemy lines from Amazon Prime. Right? Bro, I'm 40 now. I was like 13 at the time. They didn't have Amazon Prime. I had the DVD. I also am very wary of military movies now because I think like it's just, it's all lies.
Political future of America's gambling and ignorant president, his Republican Party, and the American political scene for years to come.
So
that's right, Dragon. We're watching a guy watch a video of another guy watching a video. That's what this show is today. Fuck you. I couldn't find a better video explaining it. I swear to God, I wanted to do anything but watch Jimmy Dore, and here we are with Jimmy Dore and Colonel Douglas McGregor, not MacArthur.
I think that's what really happened. Of course, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. It could be war propaganda from Iran. But that's Press TV, and I think that was a failed military operation that Trump had to spin, and that's why he was so unhinged on Sunday and using expletives and threatening to wipe out their civilization because he had a failed military operation. What do you make of it?
Was that Ben Shapiro narrating? Ben Shapiro. Maybe he changed sides.
Why is Douglas McGregor funny today? I like that.
Who knows? Anyhow, I think it's plausible what was described, but I don't have access to the facts. And you're not going to get access to the facts because that mission is highly classified. Now, how did that come about? I think that was probably the first serious effort to deal with this enriched uranium matter. But it's strange because at the same time, we have been insisting that the enriched uranium is buried inside a mountain that we bombed back in June of last year. Well, if it's buried under a mountain that was destroyed in June of last year, what are we doing in and around Isfahan? Well,
look up Operation Eagle Claw. That's similar. Yeah, so he's saying that like this seems like that we're going after, again, nothing ever makes any fucking sense. Nothing about this war is ever correct. Everything the administration tells us, like 2 weeks later, we find out it's bullshit. But the internet's a real motherfucker. I bet they wish we could go back to the days of Iraq and Afghanistan where the internet wasn't so prevalent and we couldn't fact check you within a week or two. But here we are.
We have nuclear research and development going on down there. So I suppose that was part of it. Again, it's very odd. Now, you're not going to get a ground invasion of Iran. To do that, you'd need 1 million troops. And they'd have to be organized, trained, and equipped to deal with.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it was. Operation Eagle Claw was the failed attempt to rescue the embassy staff that were held captive by the Iranians in the 1980s from Jimmy Carter. I think it ultimately would cost them the election.
This very different environment that you see there and we're seeing in eastern Ukraine. we're still organized to refight World War II in some fashion. That's one of the reasons that we're not doing very well right now.
So, I mean, the fact that the downed pilot was they said he was 100 miles away when he was downed, and from where they picked him up, there's no way he hiked 100 miles in one day, right?
No, I don't think so. But I'm glad we got him out, thank goodness. And somebody said to me, "Well, why are we making such a fuss over a pilot? We don't seem to be that concerned about soldiers, sailors, or Marines." And people don't understand that if you're asking a pilot to fly into enemy airspace where he can be
Kevin, you're missing the point here. Nobody is the accusation here is not that a aircraft was shot down in a war zone. The discussion here is, what was that aircraft doing? How did they shoot down an aircraft without the ability to shoot down an aircraft? And why was he 100 miles away from where the downed aircraft was? Right? Again, you're doing the same thing that like Pete Hegseth is doing. And that makes sense if you're on the MAGA side, because it's just bird brain shit. Not one single person is saying that the pilots aren't brave. What we're saying is the story we're being told doesn't make sense. And the accusation they're making is that this is a failed CIA operation that was meant to go in and steal the enriched uranium, which now seems a lot more plausible, as Trump is saying, adding to the negotiation now, you have to give us all the enriched uranium. And Kash Patel's out there saying, we're going to get that enriched uranium. You just follow along with what we're actually talking about here. You're looking for ways to disagree, but none of us are talking about that. And a reminder, 35 minutes left. If you guys want to help us knock out that gift goal, Dollar Train would knock that out in a hurry. Appreciate you guys.
Shot down potentially. He would like to know that you're going to make an effort to get him out and just not abandon him. So I think people need to understand that, because I do deal often with lots of people who are angry over what they think is disproportionate attention focused on a pilot. But this man was also an intelligence officer. He was very well informed about a whole range of things. So it's a good thing he did not fall into enemy hands.
Come see me in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, it feels to me like the administration can't get ahead of the rapid spread of information. It's becoming more clear every day the level of propaganda they are cooking up. It's nonstop. They have no control over this narrative. I don't think they have like a real objective here. I don't think they have any clue what the fuck they're doing. The shifting goalposts of what our goals are supposed to be is wild. Like every day, the goalpost just shifts hard. I guess it's too, just not just Trump. Yeah, that's fair. There you go, Casey. Why did the United States attack Iran? We don't know yet. We're still waiting on answers for that. It seems to be an ever-changing. I think what they've settled on is they have a nuclear weapon, or they were going to get a nuclear weapon, but they also said we destroyed their nuclear stockpile. So it's hard. Did Kegsbreast say the pilot was severely injured, traveled 100 miles in enemy territory, climbed a mountain? I mean, yeah. Like, I also don't know. Like, for anybody who has served in the military who might have like parachuted out of a plane, there's got to be some of that 100 miles that perhaps the pilot was able to glide safely to. I don't know how many miles away from where your plane is shot down you could travel. I don't know. Like, once you eject, is there a strong wind? I guess you could maybe come up with some explanation for why they were 100 miles away, but that seems like a pretty stiff wind, especially if they're injured. Sounds like lone survivor a little bit. You should have to pass a basic intelligence test to buy a microphone. Well, fuck, man. I've taken the same test Donald Trump took like 6 times on air now, and I've got 100% every single time. So I don't know. I guess I'm a genius. Jamar says, guy watching a guy equals an Inception episode. 100 miles even healthy is a few day trek for sure. Yeah, you can do. Does anybody know? Do we have anybody here who's like parachuted? You can maybe do that in certain parts of the world if you're trying to do it on purpose in a wingsuit, but it would take you hours. Okay, so not likely that you could parachute 100 miles. I guess that's true, because they're not really meant to glide, right? You're just going straight down. Maybe he did. Maybe he ejected with a wingsuit on, and they just forgot to tell us that. If I swear to God, if they come out tomorrow and say that our military is wearing wingsuits, and I had to show a Jimmy Dore video, just because we didn't know that our military is wearing wingsuits now. I'm gonna be really bummed about that. That's gonna suck. All right, let's get back to Iran here. I thought this was great stuff by Rokana, and the hysterical nature of Maria Bartiromo never fails when she gets pressed. I don't know. I don't know how Republican media can still do this with a straight face. Every president in my lifetime has had Benjamin Netanyahu begging them to invade Iran, saying the exact same thing that they told Donald Trump, that Iran's about to get a nuclear weapon. You've got to bomb them now. And everybody's like, nah, that's not true. That's not true. And now Republicans are celebrating Donald Trump like he had courage. We don't even have evidence that they have a nuclear weapon. That's not courageous. That's kind of like some pussy shit. Oh, I heard they might. Okay, let's murder them. That's what the Republicans are left with, and Fox News is left with, that Donald Trump is courageous for choosing to go after Iran without information that they actually had a nuclear weapon or were anywhere close to developing a nuclear weapon.
Suggesting that Obama's leadership on Iran was better, because under President Obama, there were 14 wire transfers to a, hold on. There were 14 wire transfers to a Swiss account linked to Hezbollah between 2014 and 2016. That was a total of $1.7 billion. The same $1.7 billion he told Congress was frozen Iranian assets. Now, there was a back channel to Tehran through Valerie Jarrett.
Let me just point out that what she just said there, that he gave them $1 billion, and that he also told Congress that they were frozen Iranian assets, which is what they were. So what she just said there is that he told the truth. I think she's trying to say it's a lie. She's trying to say that it wasn't really Iranian frozen assets, which it was. It's been confirmed a million times. But she works for Fox Business. She is a very well-paid news host. She should probably know that it was their frozen assets, right?
For 2012 to 2024, this was after he left office. So, it was almost like a shadow government. He also sent pellets of cash in a plane to Iran. Now, why would you send money to Iran knowing that they are building a nuclear weapon and they are the leading sponsor of terrorism?
Two things. One, we don't know that they were building a nuclear weapon. We have no evidence of that. And two, we are the leading sponsor of terrorism. Iran is a close second or third, or maybe you could probably say Russia and China fund it more. They might be 5.
Barack Obama was a great statesman who left America much safer. I wouldn't put Donald Trump in the same paragraph. The reality is, when President Obama left, because of the great efforts of people like Valerie Jarrett, we had 97% of the enriched uranium out. The reality is we didn't have 13 American service members dead. The reality is we never had gas go up.
Echo, we weren't sending money to them. It was their money. And we used their money as leverage. We froze their money, and we used it brilliantly as leverage to get them to shut down their nuclear enrichment and keep them. We took 97% of their enriched uranium, and it didn't cost us a dime. And it wasn't us unilaterally. We did it with like our NATO partners. Russia and China were involved in that negotiation. Obama negotiated an incredible deal, and we used their frozen assets as leverage to get what we want. And we got it, and we had it until Trump ripped up that agreement.
From $2.30 to $4. The reality is we did not give China more role in the region. Let me finish, Maria. I'll let you finish.
Okay,
we didn't give China more role in the region. We did not give the IRGC a more hardline regime in there. You know why? Because Obama actually did his homework. He actually tried to engage in statesmanship. He got China, Russia, the entire European allies on board with getting Iran on a path to not having a nuclear weapon. All Trump did is listen to Netanyahu. That's his entire foreign policy. And you know what? I resent the fact that
Ian's back. We didn't get anything but terror cells in our nation. Ian, you gotta learn some stuff, man. We got 97% of their enriched uranium. and we forced them to not enrich past 3.6%. And we were able to inspect their nuclear facilities. And we came to an agreement with China and Russia, which gave us leverage in future negotiations. It was perhaps one of so almost certainly, one of the most important negotiations and treaties signed in my life. It was brilliant. Everybody agreed. Our enemies, it was so good that our enemies were like, yeah, Iran, you got to do this. This is the best solution here. We don't need you and Israel constantly bombing the fuck out of each other. This is a good solution. We'll stand in the way of Israel nuking you, but you got to get rid of your nuclear ambitions. And they did. Is that why we got terrorism worldwide? No, those are unrelated, dipshit. Somebody want to explain how time works? Obama was not like I was a sophomore in high school when 9/11 happened. And then we went to war with Iraq and Afghanistan. And that wasn't Obama. That was pre-Obama. And I'm pretty sure it was a terrorist cell that attacked us on 9/11, Al-Qaeda. They already existed. They've continued to exist. And every time we invade the Middle East, we get more groups. You get Hezbollah. You get, Hamas is more of a resistance group. They're pretty much locally stay there in Palestine. You get ISIS. You get Al-Qaeda. They existed already. Don't say dumb shit just so that you can keep jacking off Donald Trump as a hobby. It's silly. The Iranian nuclear agreement did not proliferate terrorist cells. You just don't know how to answer this question. You don't know what to do about the fact that he's making good points, so you're making an unrelated point.
Israel is going to tell the United States what to do. The American president should call
Alberto said, thanks for all your great work. I appreciate that, Alberto.
the shots in this country.
And, well, the American president should call the shots in this country, but you...
That's a good point. Hezbollah formed as a resistance group when Israel invaded Lebanon. Yeah. I still, like, you can say terrorist all you want, but there's not a big difference. There's no difference between what we do and what they're doing.
Your colleagues are trying to clip his wings right now with this war powers vote. I agree. The president is in charge. But look, a lot of the things that you just said are just not true, Congressman. I mean, look, we have to look at this realistically. And President Obama sent money to the Iranians. And what did they do? They resumed their buildup of
That's not true.
Enrichment.
That's not true.
Yeah,
true.
What's not true?
See, the exact opposite of that is true. I can't believe that this news organization has viewers still. The exact opposite is true. They got that money and they gave up 97% of their enriched uranium and stopped enriching past 3.6%. Literally, the exact opposite of what she's saying is true. And this is why we're a little fucked in this country. This is why we can be in this war and Republicans still support it, because the people who talk to them just lie right through their fucking teeth. Demian said, just do my daily tip. Cheers. Appreciate that.
What's not true? What specifically about that sentence is not true?
There was a deal that we reached to get 97% of the enriched uranium out. In the process of that, Iran had certain assets that were Iranian assets, wasn't our money, that was unfrozen. And that was a deal that China, Russia, France, UK, Canada, the United States all agreed to. And then you had Netanyahu come in and try to torpedo it, and AIPAC tried to torpedo that deal. We were on a path to having a denuclear Iran, but what happened is it wasn't.
Isn't that weird? AIPAC was against that one too. And then who was it that convinced Trump to get out of that deal? Was that the Adelsons? Graham Adelson? Sheldon Adelson? Big AIPAC funders? Interesting. Israel didn't want that agreement. I wonder why. I wonder why the whole world wanted it. Israel didn't, and MAGA keeps showing up just trotting out that Zionist talking point.
in Netanyahu's interests and AIPAC's interests, and they've dragged us into another war in the Middle East. They've hurt American people, and the American people are tired of it. They want people who are going to be Team America. They want people who are going to bring gas prices down here and care about our nation and get us out of these wars. And that's why Obama won. He was against the Iraq war. That's why he was on a path to normalization in terms of getting Iran to be denuclear and had the whole world on our side. And AIPAC, Netanyahu tore that up.
Relax. Congressman, it doesn't change.
Relax. Relax. Stop it with all those facts. You got to knock that shit off.
The fact that 10 presidents before President Trump all said the same thing.
I think there's some connection issue.
Congressman.
Now I can hear you.
Congressman, it doesn't change the fact that 10 presidents before President Trump all said the same thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They are the leading state sponsor of terrorism. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
And one president delivered, and that was Barack Obama.
No, that's not true. Not one of them did anything about it.
Barack Obama is the only one who delivered.
Congressman, you're talking.
Is that not correct? Did anybody make any inroads with Iran other than Barack Obama? One president of our lifetime was able to do something about Iran.
Fantasy.
97%
Obama did
out.
nothing about it. You're talking fantasy. Obama did nothing about it. Other than send money to the Iranians.
Obama got the whole world. He didn't send money to them. That's just factually false. He unfroze Iranian assets, but he had the whole world behind us. How many countries do we have behind us now? Obama had Russia, China.
I don't know if she's lying or is this dumb. Like, honestly, I feel like she's just this dumb. Because if you were lying, what you would do, I would imagine, is you would try and obfuscate here. You would try and shift the goalpost. She's not shifting the goalpost. She's just screaming at him that he's lying. And he's saying stuff that's verifiably true.
Canada, UK, France, the whole
Russia,
world on board, and they lost 97%.
Now, Congressman, now you lost me. Saying Obama had Russia and China in their corner.
He did. They agreed with the deal. She's just doing what everybody in this chat does every day. Oh, Russia and China. Now I don't believe you. I don't think she listened to any of that. They were with us on this deal.
I think you know better than most that Russia and China are not in our corner. Congressman, we will continue this discussion, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ro Khanna.
Well, here's the president today telling us apparently Iran offered a deal. They're saying that you have to open up the straits first. We can discuss the disarmament, or whatever you want to call it, or getting rid of the enriched uranium. Trump was asked about that this morning, about him rejecting that proposal. And this has got to be old. This has got to be old for some of you, right?
Mr. President, you mentioned that you were going to be meeting with the generals on Iran. You rejected a deal from Iran over the weekend. Can you tell us anything about that?
We can't freeze Iran's assets unless it's the money we are sending them. Oh, Tommy, that's so dumb. No, it was seized assets. Oh, that was dumb, Tommy. That was really dumb. You're wrong about that.
Proposal, and what, if any, effort will be made to break the stalemate?
It was just unacceptable. You know, a lot of people said, well, does he have a plan? Yeah, of course they do have the best plan ever. I mean, Iran has been defeated militarily, totally. They have a little left. They probably built up during this period of time.
Can we just also point out that Iran's military largely, like their Navy and their Air Force, was largely gifted to them. It's not the strength of how Iran protects themselves. They're not traditional in the same way that we are. Like, their military is like 50 years old. We're bragging about taking out their military, but obviously we can't do anything about it. Somehow we've taken out their entire military, but we still can't negotiate with them. We still can't open the Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, that military wasn't that important to them.
That out in about a day. But I have a plan. You know, it's a very simple plan. I don't know why you don't say it like it is. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They're very dangerous. They're very volatile. It's a terrible thing that's happened over there. They've killed 42,000 people in the last 2 months. 42,000. At least that's what we know of. 42,000 people.
Oh, sorry. Somebody asked how we did seize the assets. So the U.S., the way that we had these assets from Iran is we were selling weapons to Iran. I want to say it was fighter jets. Somebody can correct me if that's wrong. I think it was fighter jets. And Iran paid us $400 million. And then we decided to sanction them in the 70s, and we just didn't deliver, and we kept that money, the $400 million, and then it sat in an escrow account where it earned interest, and then we gave that back to them. So it wasn't money we were sending them. They actually paid us, and we didn't deliver, and then that sat in it. Was it F-14s? Thank you, Bill. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's what it was. And that's how we had that money. So it was them. Why were we selling them fighter jets? That's a great question. You should check. Who did that deal? I can't even remember. I know Jimmy Carter's the one that did the executive order. So did Nixon sell them to him? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I'm not sure when we made that deal. I'm guessing it would have been Nixon that sold it to them. No, the interest was theirs. It was in an escrow account. We didn't, and they kept the interest. Was it Nixon that did that deal? Wouldn't have been Reagan. Reagan was after. Carter sold them to them. I know Carter's the one that froze the assets, but I don't know. You may know. Could have been Ford. I'm not sure. Good question. We'll have to look that up. I should know that.
Killed numerous people over the last week.
Nixon in
But
72.
They killed
Thank you.
42,000 people a month and a half ago. They were unarmed protesters, not at all violent protesters. And they started taking them out, shooting them. So we're not going to let them. That's the plan. You know, people say, what's the plan? The plan is very simple. The blockade, first of all, was a part of military genius, just like Venezuela was military genius. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And we're stocked up with great ammunition. We have much better stuff than we did 2 months ago when we first did the attack.
And yet we still can't get anywhere. Parents said, I'm sorry to hear you won't be getting your Trump phone. I know you're devastated. Anyway, I'll put this towards some greenery to take your mind off the heartbreak. Thank you. W in the chat for Lee for the $50 on Venmo said, big thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. I think there's, I don't know why that's blacked out, Jen, but I think I'll update the gift goal. If you guys want to help us, we about got it knocked out, about 15 more minutes. We can get that taken care of, and appreciate all that you guys do. I know times are tough, so anything you guys donate, we really, really appreciate it.
Knocked them for a loop. But very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It can't have it. And if they did have it, the Middle East would be gone, Israel would be gone, and they'd hit Europe probably next. We're doing the service to the world.
I don't understand how they get to keep saying this with a straight face. What evidence do we have that Iran would get it? Like, if Iran did get a nuclear weapon and they were going to use it, it would be Israel. They would just take out Israel. This idea that they hate the whole fucking world and that they want to take over the entire fucking world just isn't backed by anything that they've ever fucking done. They're not invading. They're not attacking other countries. They've basically been at war with Israel forever. And Israel has nukes pointed at them all the time. I've never seen. Yeah, thank you. That's a goal, not a plan. I don't know. I've never seen any evidence that they were going to come after us or Europe. It's silly. So we have no evidence that they have a nuclear weapon or we're close to getting a nuclear weapon. And now we're just still fighting this war. And we had an agreement. They didn't have a nuclear weapon when Trump was first president. He paved the way for them.
And this has gone on for 47 years. Other presidents and leaders of other countries that have the power should have done it, but they didn't do it. But it's a very simple plan. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, and they didn't want to go that far. If you can believe it, they didn't. How stupid. Are they stupid people? They didn't want to believe it. They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure, but there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory.
The fuck is he talking about? What in the fuck is he talking about right now? Who is they? Is he talking about the press right now? Is he just responding to people saying that Trump gets bored? What in the Christ is he talking about?
We've already, in theory, had a complete victory from the military standpoint. The military, look, their Navy is dead. They had 159 ships. Right now they have 0, other than the little speedboats that go around that got taken out 8 a day by us. They have no Air Force.
Am I denying that they have enriched uranium over 60%? I think that there's enough people that have confirmed that they have enriched uranium over 60% to acknowledge that that is probably true. But what was it before Trump ripped? Now you answer this question, David. What was it before Trump ripped up the Iranian nuclear agreement? What was the highest level they had enriched uranium at before Trump ripped that up? And secondly, and I've said this before, that's what Iran should do. If you rip up the Iranian nuclear agreement and Iran no longer has the protection of the United States while Israel is pointing their nukes at them, then you start enriching uranium and you build up your weapon stockpile and you make Israel afraid that you have the weapons that they have. That's your only deterrent. It's what everybody would have done, and it's exactly what Israel knew they would do. Israel just wanted to go to war, and they wanted us to be dragged in. This was all Israel's plan the entire time. That's why they've been begging us to get out of that agreement. That's why they've been begging us to bomb them. They wouldn't bomb them by themselves. They need us. We finally got a dipshit who could be bribed, and here we are. Draco said $20 train choo choo. Thank you for the $20 W. Draco's rose in the chat there. Appreciate it.
They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably put the shoulder jobs into service over the last 3 weeks.
I'm going to start offering shoulder jobs to MAGA dads, by the way. Tell your dads I'm now offering shoulder jobs. They'll find out.
Probably. But essentially, they have no anti-aircraft. They have no radar. And frankly, their leaders have been killed at the first level, second level, and half at the third level. And then they come back and they want to negotiate, and they give us a stupid proposal. And nobody would take it, although Obama would have taken it, Biden would have taken it. What they took was far worse. So
what did we take? Obama's deal was far worse, 3.6%. And we got to go inspect their facilities. That was worse. That's what this dipshit would tell you. That they were at 60% and Obama's deal was far worse. You have to be an absolute moron to keep believing this guy. Thank you, Alyssa and Kim. Kim, thanks for paying your Antifa dues early. Appreciate that.
Stopped him twice. We stopped him when I terminated the worst deal probably ever made in the history of our country in terms of defense. That was the...
You got he's just mad that Obama got credit for a great deal. That's the only reason. That's all Trump needed. Now, the reason that the Adelsons wanted him to do it and Netanyahu wanted him to do it is so that they could go to war with Iran. But Trump did it because Obama made a good deal and he got a lot of good press for it. And he is so inferior to Barack Obama in every single way. Obama lives rent-free in his head like nobody I've ever seen before. Obama is everything Donald Trump wishes he could have been, but he's not.
Iran nuclear deal penned by Barack Hussein Obama, that would have given Iran a nuclear weapon within a year. They would have had it years ago.
How long was it in effect for like 8 years? They didn't have a nuclear weapon. Why would it have happened within a year? Do you really trust Iran with nukes? They don't have them. And I don't trust Iran with nukes, which is why we wanted the Iranian nuclear agreement. You goddamn idiot. Jesus Christ. You're too stupid to consume politics. You got to go somewhere else, Jaka. You got to fucking go somewhere else. This is absolutely insane that we have to explain this shit to your dumb fucking ass every fucking day. For like 3 weeks, the Jaka shows up, and every fucking day we have to explain to him that they didn't have nukes and they didn't have enriched uranium past 3.6%. And then Trump ripped it up and they still didn't have nukes, but they had enriched uranium at 60%. So then Trump bombed them and said we completely obliterated their nuclear program. And then like 6 months later, bombed them again because said they had nukes. Somehow we have obliterated their nuclear program and they also have nukes. And none of this was a problem before this bloated dumb fuck showed up in Washington, took $100 million from the Adelsons, and was so butthurt that Obama made a joke about him one fucking time at a roast that he's like, we have to get out of this agreement. And now we are 10 years removed from that, and Jaka is here just with the absolute worst fucking take on earth. Do you really trust Iran with a nuclear weapon? No. Which is why the Iranian nuclear agreement was so goddamn important. This is like blowing out all the windows of your house and then being like, oh, why is there bugs in my house now? It's the bug. It's probably the bug's fault.
Terminated that in my first term. And then when that beautiful plane right there hit them hard, we really hit them hard. And they told me, I want to just tell you this because they like to say, oh, well, maybe it wasn't that hard a hit. Iran told me very strongly, because they intend to give us the nuclear dust, as I call it. It's easier than talking about other terms because it's a term everyone knows. But the nuclear dust, which is what we hit, they told me, number one, you're getting it, but you're going to have to take it out because the site was so obliterated.
No, Iran is saying that you can get the nuclear dust for sure. They said it very strongly. I mean, Iran says that they didn't, but for sure this happened. So wait, all of their enriched uranium is dust. I want to be clear on this. All of their enriched uranium is dust, but we can't let them have a nuclear weapon, which they don't have and never had. We're still fighting this war. If the question is, do you trust Iran's public comments or Zionist public comment? Honestly, I trust Iran over Israel at this point, which sucks. Iran should not be trusted, but goddamn, they over Israel probably.
That there's only one or two countries in the world that could get it.
Chaka, you can't even figure out what the fuck I'm saying. I'm not saying that you are lying. I'm saying you don't understand any of this, and I've explained it 30 times to you, and you still don't understand it. Nobody's calling you a liar. I want to be clear on this. I don't think you're being dishonest. I think you're actually this fucking stupid. I clearly, look in the camera. I think you're dumb. I think you're too stupid to understand anything that we're saying because we've said it 30 times, and your responses make it seem like you're having a conversation with somebody else who's talking about a different topic. Because your ability to take information in, process it, and come up with a response that is even remotely related is not something that you're good at. So for the record, nobody here is calling you a liar. We're saying you're fucking dumb. Really fucking dumb. In fact, I don't even think you're smart enough to lie about any of this stuff. You are so fucking stupid and uneducated on this that if you don't have enough information to put a lie together. It feels like I'm speaking with a random sentence generator every time I talk to you. That's what I'm saying, just so we're clear. Nobody here, nobody on your side, nobody on my side, nobody in the middle. Not a single person here has ever seen you write a comment and been like, that's a really good point that totally makes sense. Everybody's just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about every day? And I still stop my show because I have hope for you. I'm bad, but the audience gets mad at me. Like, I have too much hope for MAGA. I just have hope that one day you're going to understand how words function and how they are put together in a sentence and how that sentence then makes sense. And then you're going to be like, okay, now that I understand the sentence that I just heard, I'm going to respond with a sentence that is on the same fucking topic and makes any goddamn sense at all. And until that day, I think I'm going to be really frustrated with you. But I believe in you, buddy. You got this. You can do it.
It's so deep and got hit so hard that there's no way they have the equipment to move it. You and China are the only two countries in the world that could take it out. So we talked about it, and they said, you'll have to take it out because we don't have the capability of doing it. So for those people that like to say that those great pilots in those great planes, well, we just ordered 22 more of them, new and improved, that those great pilots didn't do their job, they did their job. At 1 o'clock in the morning with no moon, no light, no nothing. Every single bomb hit its targets. And then...
I love when he says that. No moon, no light. Brother, you have night vision. Invading or doing something in the dark was impossible before that. Or very difficult before that. We can see everything always. We have drones. We have satellites. We have night vision. He is so easily impressed. How did they even do it without turning on their headlights or having a full moon? Oh, I don't know. Technology? It's 2026, dude. We're good. We don't need that.
As you know, we shot some incredible things. There's things that nobody else has. Nobody has a military like we have. We shot the Tomahawks from a submarine 200 miles away.
Like, well, Israel has Tomahawks. We sell Tomahawks to other countries. It's an interesting thing to say. Nobody has what we have, and then mention Tomahawk missiles, which we sell regularly. So that was kind of weird.
And that went on top of it. But every one of those, including the Tomahawks, every one of those weapons and shots hit perfectly. And they said to me, just to put it on the record, they said to me, there are only 2 countries in the entire world that could ever get that stuff out of there because we don't have the equipment and nobody else. They said China and the United States. So
you know what it sounds like to me, if this is true? It sounds to me like Iran said, okay, well, if you want to negotiate and you want to get the nuclear waste that you blew up, you're going to have to come get it. Or we can give it to China because they can come get it. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like this was a negotiation. Like, well, you can't get here. You can't come in here because we shoot your planes down. So this sounds like part of the negotiation, which again, I'm going to tend to believe Iran over Trump because that actually makes sense because they haven't agreed to anything. That sounds like part of their negotiating. Yeah, once we're done negotiating, if you want to come get it, you've got to come get it. We're not going to bring it to you. That's what it sounds like to me. And Trump maybe doesn't understand that.
I just want to let you know, those pilots did an unbelievable job, very dangerous job, at 1 o'clock in the morning. Think of it. No,
Okay.
no moon,
No moon.
nothing. We had
Back
no
to the
light.
moon. No light. No light. No moon. Think of it. The United States. He really is. There's still people here that are like, this guy. He knows. He really knows.
Purposely. And every single one of those bombs went right down an air chute in a granite mountain and exploded. And they are unable to get it, even if they wanted to. But we're not going to take a chance. So that's part of the deal.
Yeah, that's where you're at too there. Moses, you lost me yet, I believe, Iran over Trump after they just killed 40,000 people, been harassing every country in the world, shut down the street of her mouth, shut down the street of her mouth. But you're going to take Iran's word over Trump. Guys, are we serious here? You lost me yet, I believe, Ron over Trump after they just killed 40,000 people, been harassing every country in the world, shut down the street of her mouth. You're going to take Iran's word over Trump. Yeah. 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 I think I know what you were saying there. They didn't kill 40,000 people. It's a made up number. I think last we saw was about like 7,000. But that's a made up number. They closed the Strait of Strait of Vermouth, after we bombed them. And they haven't been invading other countries or harassing. They've been at war with Israel and us for a while, and they sponsor proxy groups, and that's it. So yeah, I do trust them over Trump. Trump doesn't even seem to, like, even if I did trust Trump, he doesn't seem to know what the fuck he's even talking about. Said Iran doesn't attack anyone. I've never said Iran doesn't attack anyone. I said Iran doesn't invade other countries. Can you tell me, well, Santos, tell me, who's the last country Iran invaded? They attack all the time, right? They attack Israel. But when's the last time they invaded another country? All right, we'll finish up. I just wanted to play a couple clips from Benjamin Netanyahu was interviewed by, I think it was it NBC, CBS? I can't remember. I wanted to show a couple of those, and then we'll get out of here. If anybody wants to help us knock out that gift goal, I'm going to go about probably 15 or 20 minutes over while we get these done, and then we'll get out of here. I'll update the total that's left. 60 minutes, so CBS.
Over, and if it isn't, who will decide? Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there.
Using the word we a bit loosely, feels like. I think we, over here, degraded it.
And there's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel? Special forces from the United States?
Thanks, BB. How are you going to get it? You go get it. You're going to go in and get it. Cool.
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
What if there isn't an agreement? Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans.
Yeah, now he can't tell you that they have nuclear weapons. Did you guys know that? Did you know that Israel has nuclear weapons? Why did they get nuclear weapons? Did you know that they stole the technology from us? Did you know we don't know how many nuclear weapons they have? They won't tell us. They stole our technology and they have nukes and they just get to play by different rules.
Or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that aim?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
Yeah, we don't know. Doesn't seem like Israel has a plan either. It's just nobody has a plan. That's fine. MAGA's cool just being like led around like puppy dogs by Benjamin Netanyahu.
It's attributed to Winston Churchill. History is written by the victors. He didn't say it. Lots of people have said it. He didn't say it.
No, he said, I don't worry about it because I'll write it myself.
But that idea that victors write the history, what will the history, the state of Israel will write about this conflict with Iran? And when will you know it's been victorious?
I think we already achieved great things. Remember, Iran was surrounding us with a noose of death.
A what? Iran was surrounding Israel with a noose of death. What is he talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about. What is he talking about?
Of simultaneous invasions from Gaza, from Hamas, and from Lebanon by Hezbollah. We were going to be rocketed and pelleted with ballistic missiles that would destroy our cities. Iran would have atomic weapons to destroy us. We smashed the terror axis. It's not finished. We have still work to do. Right. But it's clear that Israel has emerged as the most powerful country in the Middle East. We have a partnership.
Are you the most powerful if you just have America do everything for you? Are you?
With the U.S. that is second to none. The national security.
Seems like Iran's doing a pretty good job withstanding both Israel and the United States. Do you think Israel could hold off the United States?
Memorandum that was issued.
I guess because they have nukes. Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I take it back. They're probably the most powerful.
A few months ago, described Israel as the model ally, not the ally, the model ally of the United States.
I want you to listen to this because this is what AIPAC gets you. This is what AIPAC gets you as a talking point.
A few months ago, described Israel as the model, the most powerful country in the Middle East. We have a partnership with the U.S. that is second to none. The national security memorandum that was issued a few months ago described Israel as the model ally, not the ally.
Yeah. They just wrote that down. It's just the Trump administration's like, you're the best. And this is their evidence now. Well, they said we're the best. All right.
Model ally of the United States.
Model ally. Every war we've been in my lifetime, this motherfucker and Israel have dragged us into.
So we've changed our position from being on the verge of being exterminated, being annihilated.
Who wrote that? Northrop Grumman? Boeing? Who's calling them the model ally? Just the entire military-industrial complex?
To a position where we knock back the annihilators and become a very forceful element, a very forceful country in the Middle East. Now, all power is relative. You know that. All power is relative. Yes. You know. So Iran hasn't disappeared.
Hezbollah
hasn't disappeared. Hamas hasn't disappeared. But they're, in many ways, in some cases, a shadow of their former selves. They certainly don't threaten us now with annihilation.
But then they will. This is the thing. This is what these forever wars do. You will never end opposition to Israel. So you can go kill as many members of Hamas and Hezbollah as you want to. You can kill as many Iranians as you want to, and you will create more radicals, and you can weaken them, but they will build back up, and they'll come back after you. This is why we can't leave the Middle East, because of shit like this. People like Netanyahu keep trying to trick us into believing this is somehow a winnable war. It's not. It's a forever war.
They try to kill our people. They occasionally succeed. But there's no question that the relative power of Israel has changed. And, you know, that's been our situation. When we started out, we were 600,000 people on the beach here, and we were attacked by 7 Arab armies, and we survived by the skin of our teeth. And as we got stronger, we made peace with the Arab states. I myself, along with President Trump, we made the Abraham Accords, peace with 4 Arab countries. I now see the possibility of the expansion of those.
If I was alive during Hitler's genocide, what would I do? I guess I'm 40 now. I don't know if I would have been drafted. I might have been fighting in that war. I don't know.
Agreements. And the expansion and the deepening of the agreements we do have to alliances with Arab states of the kind that we never even dreamed of. And that's the result of the change in the relative power of Israel. The fact that we face down this neighborhood bully, this killer regime in Iran, that's brought quite a few of the Arab countries closer together with Israel. And that's good for peace.
It's interesting.
Yeah, except for they're all kind of abandoning it now because it's fucking them up. Last thing here, because I just want to see, after this genocidal maniac, war criminal, plays victim forever and claims that he's the reason that the United States is so great. They're just such great partners together, and they're bringing peace. Then he decides to tell us that this is all just anti-Semitism. Any opposition to this genocidal maniac is just because we hate Jews.
This vile vilification of the Jews took a reprieve after the Holocaust. It took a reprieve. It took 80 years. You know, it wasn't fashionable to be anti-Semitic, so you didn't say these things in polite society. But it's come back. It's almost like it accompanies us throughout.
What is that about?
Huh. What could that possibly be about? It seems like it just kicked up since like 2023. It seems like there seems to be this big uptick of people concerned about the country of Israel. And I can't put my finger on what changed. I don't know. I wish we could figure it out.
Mr. Prime Minister,
I think
because I want to stop you right there, because in my career, which started in 1990 in Washington, up until very recently, it was an established fact in Congress. Established fact. The Republicans and Democrats had a default proposition favorable to Israel. Not always, not universally, but a default proposition that began with yes.
That's how bad it's become. It's still our default position, and they're so bad that we moved past our default position.
It's not true anymore. That's less true than at any other time I've covered Washington. That has to be reflective of something else.
Yes, it is. Well, these are historical cycles, which
So
my
you're in a
father.
historical cycle.
Yes, we are. I mean, anti-Semitism is.
It had been flowed, yes.
But, yeah, but it had been flowed, but it flowed throughout our history, and the reason it, you know.
But America's not a place where things like that tend to come back.
Well, they can come back. They were there in the 1930s with Father Coughlin, and they ebbed because of the war, but it's come back. What is it? I think it's an interesting question of why this happens, and I think there's a natural human tendency between people, and also between peoples, collective groups. It's called jealousy, and jealousy often.
That's what it is. It's jealousy.
You know,
we wish we could do a genocide. Everybody's just jealous that they get to do a genocide. Nobody else gets to.
If somebody is very successful, you can be appreciative of them, especially if it's, say, a very successful and strong country, then you temper your jealousy and you go to respect. But if you,
so these are the embers of envy.
I think it's part of it. I don't think it explains all of it. But
I got to be honest. As somebody who just didn't really give a shit about Israel my whole life, I can tell you that nobody ever fucking talked about Israel. I wouldn't have even known what to be envious of with Israel. I have no fucking clue. Were any of you ever envious of Israel? I'm not envious of them now. What envy?
I think one thing I can say is that there are many explanations for the phenomenon, the durability of anti-Semitism over the ages. My father was a great historian of this. And
you have abortion, healthcare. All right, maybe I have a little envy.
We can have a separate discussion on it.
They have healthcare that's paid for by another country. Yeah. All right. Last thing, then we'll get out of here. And once again, if somebody wants to help us knock out that gift goal so Jen doesn't beat the shit out of me, that would be great. But I just want to show polling because what Netanyahu is saying here is true. There is a change, but the polling against Netanyahu and the country of Israel is overwhelmingly negative.
Yes? Yeah, it's exactly right. But it's not just a problem that Israel has when it comes to public opinion in the United States. It's Netanyahu himself who has a major problem when it comes to public opinion in the United States. Look at this.
Americans fucking into Dallas
can say they are not confident when it comes to Netanyahu and world affairs. Look at this. In 2023, the not confident percentage was 42. Up significantly, up like a rocket, up to 59%. That's a nearly 20-point movement. In just
what happened in those 3 years? I guess we just started hating Jewish people, right? That's why more people hate Netanyahu. It couldn't be anything else. There must be jealousy and anti-Semitism.
3 years' time, and now the majority of Americans say they are not confident when it comes to Bibi Netanyahu and world affairs. And we're not just talking Democrats here. We're talking the entire American public, nearly 3 in 5.
All right, well, let's talk about the partisan breakdown here, because there are two interesting stories going on at the same time.
Yeah, there are two interesting stories. You might think that this might be a story of young Democrats moving significantly against Israel and moving against Bibi Netanyahu. But in fact, there is a twist to the numbers here. Yes, it is young Democrats. But it's actually older Democrats who are more likely to say that they're not confident when it comes to Bibi Netanyahu.
Sky Fox says, we're envious that they run the U.S. government instead of us. That's true. All right. Maybe there is a lot of envy. Bibi might have been onto something.
World affairs. Look at this. Among Democrats under the age of 50, it's 73%. But look at this. Look among Democrats 50 years and older. It's actually larger. It's 81%. And both of these numbers are up significantly from where they were in 2023. But it's actually older Democrats leading the charge, many of whom are not on social media.
Yeah, and again, just to point out here, this is not confident in
This
Benjamin
is not
Netanyahu.
confident. They are not confident in Bibi Netanyahu.
Hey, let's talk about Republicans, too, because it's interesting, sort of the dichotomy we see here.
Yeah, okay. So, I said you might have expected younger Democrats to be leading the charge and not being confident in Bibi Netanyahu. But in fact, it was older Democrats. But look at the reverse here. Look among Republicans, because here there is a massive age split. And look at this. Republicans who are not confident in Bibi Netanyahu. Look at this. Younger Republicans, nearly 3 in 5. We're talking 58% compared to 30% of Republicans.
I wonder which percentage of these people watches exclusively Fox News and Newsmax. I wonder how this 50 and up percentage of the GOP is only 30% not confident in Netanyahu. I wonder what's responsible for that.
Who are 50 and older. This, to me, is so fascinating because there is a massive age split within the Republican Party when it comes to Bibi Netanyahu and when it comes, of course, to Israel as well. And this, to me, is going to be very interesting in the years to come, especially as we enter the 2028 primary season, where we're seeing this massive split within the Republican Party on Israel. And is there going to be a candidate who comes out here and says, maybe we want to do a split and tries to appeal to younger Republicans?
It really is interesting to see a majority of younger Republicans saying they're not confident in Netanyahu.
Exactly, and double the percentage for older Republicans.
All right, Harry, thank you very much,
my friend.
for.
All right.
It's exactly right.
For today, that'll be. I hate to leave you with a bad taste in your mouth. Give you a taste of Benjamin Netanyahu on the way out. I didn't intend to do that, but that's where the cookie crumbled today. Jen, anything before we go?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right, Jen's good to go. She's just tendering. Or did we feel the gap in your team?
I haven't filled any replacements yet.
Okay, gotcha. All right, everybody, we will be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching, either on YouTube or on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for your generous donations today. And members, remember, Wednesday night, we're going to be watching the 3 episodes of Company Retreat. And so we'll see you on Wednesday night. For everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until I see you tomorrow, go outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. If you can't smoke grass or touch grass, best of luck to you. Drink lots of water. Say nice things about yourself. Get those boots on the ground. MAGA folks, if you're still here, tell your dads I say what's up. And until I see you again tomorrow, stay cute and cool and have a great, great summer.